A little bit of a malfunction there at the beginning, but we're going to get it all right back. Welcome to the show. It is the High Noon Stream for today, the 3rd of July. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. It is a rundown of all the day's topics, current events, headlines, trends, whatever it is that people are talking about. I try and give it to you right here about every 2 hours. It takes about 2 hours. Sometimes longer, sometimes less. Does everything sound okay? Well, chat room, check in. Let me see my chat room people. Do I have the chat room working? Boom, boom, Taronda. Taronda's there. Very good. All right, there we. Sorry, we took a few days off. I apologize for no show on Thursday or on Friday. A lot of preparations for the big 4th of July week. Then what do we do? Then, anyway, it has been an exhausting weekend, but I really, God, I so desperately wanted to get back to doing this today. So thank you for showing up. I didn't think anybody was going to show up, but I'm glad to see we got Cameron here. We got April. We got Byron. I know we're going to lose a lot of people today because, it's the 3rd of July. People are out doing 4th of July things. I'm about done with 4th of July things. Tomorrow, I can't believe tomorrow is the actual 4th of July. It feels like, it just feels like I've been celebrating 4th of July since Friday. Oh my God. I had an incident with the dog as well. Y'all know my co-pilot here on the show, CeeLo. CeeLo is not here riding shotgun today because the boy is here. My 14-year-old son is here. He is downstairs. He's playing something, and the dog is going to be a real nuisance. Oh, speak of the devil. Is that you? Is that you? Oh, it looks like she's outside the door. She's going to be coming and going. So just be prepared. At some point, I'm going to go, hold on. I got to open the studio door and I got to let the dog in because she's going to want to go back and forth. Her job is oh my God, you guys, she humiliated me in a way this weekend. The dog I'm talking about, CeeLo, the absurd, oh God, it's Catahoula. I don't know if you know what a Catahoula is. They're kind of a rare breed, but they're basically a hillbilly Louisiana swamp dog. They're just like, they're nuts. They're nuts. So I'm taking her for a walk because, E, who co-hosts the Radio Misfits show that we do every Monday through Thursday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, all time Central Standard. He's got a boat, he's got jet skis, and he's so generous with his time, and he's so good to his friends. He always invites us out, and we have a wonderful time. Anybody who knows E from the nighttime show, you know exactly what kind of dude you're dealing with. So it's an incredible luxury, right? That we all enjoy. But before we can go spend 12 hours on the lake in the hot sun having all the fun, I have to make sure that the dog gets a nice good walk. So on Saturday morning, I'm taking the dog. We're walking, man. I'm trying to wear her out because I know we're going to be gone for a while, and she's not going to be cooped up in an apartment. We do this show from the 1%er compound. She's got doggy doors, so she's just going to be alone. That's the concern. She's going to be alone. But I mean, she's got steps to run up and down. She's got a huge backyard. There's a swimming pool, a doggy door. She can come in and out of the house. She needs air conditioning. She's good. She's good. Humans don't have it as good as she does. So, but you got to give her a long walk just to make sure that, she's got that out of her system before you leave her for 12 hours. So this damn dog, she is, to describe her to you, she is about 70 pounds of just raw yoked muscle. She is just one big muscle with teeth and claws. And she's incredibly cuddly. And, she is, I call her Edward Scissorhands or CeeLo Scissorhands because she has the same sort of dilemma that Edward Scissorhands had, where she wants to cuddle everybody, but she's got these scissors on her hands. So she can't do that. So anyway, she's a wonderful dog, but she's also an asshole. I'm just trying to explain this. So we're walking her. Now, and I'm walking her, and it's already like 90 degrees at like 10:30 in the morning, right? So I'm walking her on a Saturday. It's beautiful. Hi, all the like stupid rich neighbors. I hate you. That kind of stuff. I'm walking her. And as we're walking down this street here in beautiful sunny Highland Park, she is attracted to, she's real horny. She's so horny, man. This dog just needs to get laid. She really does. I think maybe that. I don't know if she's fit. She's got to be fixed because, that's okay. Anyway, so she breaks from the leash and she has one of these leashes. It's a choker collar and it's got the spikes on it, right? But I don't like to walk her with the spikes. It's rough. But anyway, so the spikes are in there and she bolts and I yank on the choker collar and she stops for a minute. And then she realizes that if she reverses and goes with the direction that I'm pulling, she can loosen her neck out of the collar. So she pulls that move on me. And now here she is running up to the yard, two dogs behind a fence. She's trying to hump them. One little dog does something. She takes a snipe at the little dog. Now the bigger dog in the yard is trying to take a snipe at her. Now it's a dog fight separated by like bars. I'm running up to now I'm in flip-flops. I pick up the dog. I'm trying to hold her. Remember, 70 pounds of yoked muscle, and she's pissed and horny now. So I'm holding her. She's kicking, she's scratching. I had to throw her on the ground and lay on her to calm her down. I couldn't get her calm. And then I had to cover her eyes. I don't know why I did this. I'm an idiot. I just thought if she couldn't see the other dogs, maybe she'd forget they're there. Because she's that stupid. Anyway, I love her, but she's that stupid. So I get her around the other side of the yard, right? The other side of the fence. And now, but the leash is over there. So now what am I going to do? So what I end up doing is, and I also lost one flip-flop. So one flip-flop in the leash is over there by the fence where my dog was trying to get into the fence to fight the other two dogs or rape the other. I don't know what was happening. I'm not as plugged into dog culture. I couldn't tell. Was this just some rough sex lead up? I mean, I don't know. So flip-flop leash right there in the front yard. I now have to carry this 70-pound dog like, I don't know, like I'm a seal. Did I mention it's 90 already? And I'm a good block from home. So I'm kicking her. One flip-flop, just the one. I just got the one. So I'm carrying her. My shorts are falling down because they're not really that. So I'm stopping every so often to pull up my shorts. I get her into the house and I just throw her down. And I yelled at my kid. I go, "Don't be nice to her." And I slammed the door, got back in my car, drove, because at this point, I'm an old man. At this point, I'm like, oh, God. Oh, I left out the best part. So I have to drive back. I drove back, jumped out of the car, got my flip-flop, got the leash, drove back home. Anyway, the best part was while I was laying on her, after I had just had this insane fight. I know, look, there was a bar, there were bars between the dogs, but I was standing between, I was getting nipped by the other dogs trying to come through, and I'm trying to keep my dog from, because she got out of her leash. I started vomiting. Did you ever do that? Like where you expel so much energy in such a quick amount of time, and I just eaten a bowl of Lucky Charms. Because it's 10:30 on a Saturday. I just eat a bowl of Lucky Charms. And now I'm laying on my dog, the dog, not my dog. I'm the dog's uncle. I'm laying on the dog. And now I'm vomiting. I'm retching in the yard of this like $20 million home. Now this house was, well, I'll get to what house it was. And so now I'm puking. 10:30. Other women are power walking. You okay? I'm like they think a heroin junkie wandered into the neighborhood off Lemon Avenue. Police are about to come. They don't know what I'm doing with this dog. I was such an embarrassment to this neighborhood that I do not belong in. Highland Park, Texas, wonderful place to live if you've got a spare $20 million laying around. So, burying the lead. I've told you about this before. This all happened in George Michael's yard. That's right, George Michael from Wham! We do the jitterbug. George Michael used to live in this neighborhood. He was married to like this Kenny Goss guy, and just like right around the corner, this all happened. The ghost of George Michael was probably sitting up in a bathrobe up in a window. I didn't look. I should have. But the ghost of George Michael was probably sitting up there with like a cup of coffee, just watching the whole thing. I'm so humiliated. So, to put it lightly, I'm a little pissed at the dog. I'm still not over it. I don't know. She can't get morning walks anymore if that's when the other dogs are all in the yard, because it was insane. How are you? How was your weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Oh my God. I'm so exhausted. Today is the break day from the lake. I can't. I'm too old. I can't go to the lake every day. I am so grateful for the opportunity. I wouldn't have the opportunity to do this. Me and my kid, we have so much fun out there. Uncle E is so generous. I love it. I just can't. I was looking Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is 4th of July. By the time 4th of July comes around, we're all going to be dead, right? We're all just going to be completely out of it. All right, let's get into the show. I wanted to let you know this show does air every Monday through Friday from noon to whenever. It will not be on tomorrow. Come on, it's 4th of July. I got my kid and all that stuff. We got to do all that kind of stuff. You understand. As far as the nighttime shows go, I believe that James and I committed to doing a show tonight at 9:00. That could change because, James has like 15 kids. James is part of the Radio Misfits, the second stream that I participate in every day. That one comes on at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday through Thursday, right here on the Radio Misfits.com podcast and platform, place. I ran out of words there. So I think we're doing those shows. Oh God, there she goes. The dog is barking. I think we're doing those shows. I plan on doing one tonight. Maybe I'll do something solo. But again, this is that time of year, so please forgive me. Also, what do we need to mention? Trying to think of what else we got. Oh, we're going to get into all the stuff. I put a full show together because I fell asleep last night at like 11 o'clock, so I woke up early. Hey, if my mom's listening, my mom texted me at 7:30, and I responded like right back because I was already up. She's probably impressed because she's not used to me being up at 7:30 in the morning. I'm not used to her being up at 7:30 in the morning either. What else? I'm just trying to get all this stuff out of the way before we jump in. Hi, Leslie. Hi, Frank. Well, the chat room is Leslie. Don't dominate the chat room, please. Remember, what were the rules? We had rules. Like don't post more than 3 times in a row. I think it's don't post in the chat room more than 3 times in a row without somebody else, because at some point you're just dominating it. So, but anyway, I appreciate the participation. Thank you, Leslie. What else? I'm not. She's like, I'm not accusing you of it. Just okay. What else do we need to get to? I feel like I've missed you guys because I haven't done the show since Thursday. So I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff we need to get out of the way. If anybody new is happening on this cast, and that's a possibility because people are outside their habits, this being July 3rd, this show tries to do talk radio the way I think talk radio should be done, which is non-divisive. Divisive. We don't do political talk. We're not about politics. Sometimes political issues come across, and we do cover current events, hot topics, trends, all that stuff. Sometimes when a political issue comes across, we'll discuss it, but we're not like, Hunter Biden's laptop. We're not like that. We're not like, Trump's got to go to jail. We're not like that. We don't do that nonsense here. So this is the way I want talk radio to be. And it's the way, when I was a little kid and I used to watch people on the news, and not even a little kid, like all the way into my 20s. It's just a thing because I'm an old man. So I remember this as an adult too. You used to watch somebody on TV or you'd listen to somebody on the radio and you had no idea how they voted. You had no idea what their political affiliations were because that wasn't good. It wasn't good for business. Why, if you're in the business of trying to make as many people to listen to as possible, why would you just go, only these people? That's a whole discussion about the degradation of radio demographics. But anyway, so this is what that is. This is talk radio. This is talk radio the way we think it should be done. Oh, it also runs on your tips. So please, if you can, folks, this is, I know it's early and we missed out on the end of the month. And typically we get taken care of at the end of the month, but it's been a crazy end of the month. So anything you can do to support this kind of talk radio, it would be greatly appreciated. It helps us go. It's the entire reason that these shows are able to be done. So Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is you can do, PayPal, we would really appreciate it, especially at this time of the month when we are so desperate. Also, Sacred Oils. I wanted to mention Sacred Oils. Somebody walked into Sacred Oils yesterday and gave the Pugs 20 and got the Pugs 20 discount. And I was contacted about it. But I know a number of you who have gone into April. Did you say Pugs 20? I know April and I were talking. I know that Steve, he also went there. He sent me a picture. Who else? There was somebody else who sent me a thing on Facebook when they were there. Thank you so much because, this show doesn't have advertisers and they're not advertising. They supported us at a time when we really need it. So this is, just me thanking them for that help. Sacred Oils is located at 13740 Midway Road in Farmers Branch. All your CBDs, your Deltas, your gummies, all that kind of stuff. But remember to say Pugs 20. Because if you don't say Pugs 20, you're not going to get the Pugs 20. And more importantly, you might be like, yeah, I don't need that. That's okay. That's, I'm just gonna, I'll pay the full boat because I understand. No, don't do that. Just tell them Pugs 20, because then we get credit. Then it's like then they see, oh, people are listening and they are responding to the call to action. So yeah, say Pugs 20. I'd appreciate it. Okay, what else do we need to do? That's it. Are you ready? Are you ready to get into all today's events, all today's headlines, everything that's happening in the world, hot topics, trends, all that stuff? Okay, let's do it. It is high noon for the 3rd day of July, year of our Lord, 2023. July 3rd is the 184th day of the year. There are 181 days of these left. So, as we say around here, everybody say it with me, get those New Year's Eve plans started. Byron says he smokes the real stuff, but have been telling folks about sacred oil. Thank you. But it is the real stuff, Byron. You're confused. You're not paying attention to what's actually happening with the law. It is the real stuff. It is the real stuff. I'm just telling you. And you won't know until you try it, until you see it, until they present it to you and you go, holy shit, that is the real stuff. And they're like, yeah. I mean, what are you, a biologist? You care about the specific chemical reactions? It does the same thing. It does the exact same thing. All right, there you go. Here's how we start the show. We like to go through, before we get into the headlines, the hot topics, and the trends, before we do all of that stuff and bring you up to speed on what today's July 3rd is, we like to do a little segment I call Erstwhile on This Day. It's previously on, past editions of July the 3rd. We go through the events of today. We talk about people who are celebrating birthdays, and then we go into the deaths, people who have died on this, people who decided that this was the day that they'd had enough, and they moved on. So let's do that. Let's Erstwhile on this day. In 1035, on this day, July 3rd, 1035, William the Conqueror becomes the Duke of Normandy. Now, of course, we all know that William the Conqueror wouldn't be done with his Duke of Normandy. I don't even know, is that the way to say it? It sounded cool. It rolled nice. It's totally wrong, but it rolled noise. William the Conqueror, if you believe the they're not fables, but whatever they are, a descendant of Rollo, who was granted the Normandy region of France after he pledged his barbarian Viking defense of the city of Paris from other attackers. They said, oh, thank you, Rollo, for defending us from your kind. Here, have all of this chunk of France. And that's why it's called Normandy, because Northmen were Vikings. So Normandy, Northmen. William the Conqueror, descendant of Rollo, he would, of course, in 1066, on October the 14th, 1066, win the Battle of Hastings and rise to the King of England and all of that stuff. William the Conqueror, on this day, became Duke of Normandy. On this day in 1775, during the American Revolutionary War, although I question that 1775 could be called the Revolutionary War. Wasn't it just like, the hubbub, the smoke before the fire? Was there smoke before fire? No, smoke. You know what I'm saying? July 4th, 1776 is when we signed the Declaration of Independence, which officially said, well, we're at war. So if this isn't 1775 and they're saying during the American Revolutionary War, I have a little pushback on that. But I'm not going to be a dick about it. George Washington, on this day, took command of the Continental Army at Cambridge, Massachusetts. And the rest, as they say, is history. On this day in 1863, during the American Civil War, the final day of Gettysburg culminates with Pickett's Charge. Pickett's Charge, how'd that work for you? Going up against old General Meade? Gettysburg. Gettysburg's a great story. We don't have time for me to wax poetic about Gettysburg, especially on July 4th. On this day in 1884, Dow Jones and Company publishes its very first stock average. Dow Jones. Happy birthday, Dow Jones. On this day in 1866, Carl Benz officially unveils the Benz patent Motorwagen, the first purpose-built automobile. 1886. That's way before Henry Ford, right? But Henry Ford, like, American kids walk around going, Henry Ford invented the car. And it's like the whole rest of the world's going, no, he didn't. What Henry Ford did was he created the assembly line. He revolutionized. His contributions were more about how he ushered in the industrial age because of his innovation. He didn't invent the car. People were working on cars long before. Carl Benz is the guy who's credited with, on this day in 1886, Carl Benz officially unveils the Benz-Patent Motorwagen, the first purpose-built automobile. On this day in 1886, also, the New York Tribune becomes the first newspaper to use linotype machine, eliminating typesetting by hand. So it was the first time that they were able to like sort of mass produce newspapers instead of, it was crazy how they did it. That's why they were expensive. God, I don't even know that newspapers had to have been expensive, right? Like if the technology, like in today's money, what would a newspaper have cost in 1900? Like $10 an issue? You know what I mean? That seems like a lot. On this day in 1890, Idaho is admitted as the 43rd U.S. state. We like to celebrate all the states when they come to the party, and then we like to consider their contribution. Idaho. What has Idaho done? Idaho, potatoes. I love baked potatoes, so that's good. So there's one. There's one for Idaho. What else? They had those killings, but that should not reflect poorly on Idaho. That's it. I'm out. I don't know any. Boise State. I like Boise State. That's in Idaho. I like them. They've got a cool football field. All right, Bob. All right, Idaho. You're fine. You're fine. Idaho, you're fine. Mostly because you haven't done anything stupid. Like, you know what I mean? You're not like, you're fine. Idaho, because you've been quiet and you haven't, made a spectacle of yourself as a state. Welcome and happy birthday. On this day in 1973, David Bowie retires his stage persona, Ziggy Stardust, with the surprise announcement that it is the last show that we'll ever do on the last day of the Ziggy Stardust tour. Ooh. Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars was nightmare fuel for me when I was like 4, 5. I don't know. I was really little, and I saw Ziggy, who was David Bowie under all that. I saw Ziggy on probably the Midnight Special or Don Kirshner's rock concert. I don't know. My mom was out. I was with a babysitter. And this dude comes out, and my babysitter, she's like, this is Ziggy Stardust, and they're the Spiders from Mars. And she's telling me all this stuff, and I'm like 4 years old, right? And she's like, he's an alien from another planet. And then I remember I said, from Mars? And she goes, I don't know. And I go, well, then why is the band called the Spiders from, like, I was that I vividly recall. But anyway, I remember seeing that, and I was so freaked out. He freaked me out with the orange hair and, oh my God, scary stuff. I was already like hardwired to be into space and sci-fi because, even at like 3, 4 years old, I knew my birthday was July 20th, the day we landed on the moon. So I was already like into that. And then here's this. And I'm like, no, thank you. It was only years later, like, you rediscover stuff and you're like, yeah, man, Ziggy Stardust was actually really cool. What an awesome artistic concept that he was going with. A lot of drugs involved, but man, how cool. Of all the Bowie persona, I mean, what are his most famous? You got Ziggy Stardust and you got the Thin White Duke, right? I think I tend to like the Thin White Duke more. I like that sophisticated reinvention that he did where he was always in suits and all that. I don't know. It was on this day that Ziggy Stardust went bye-bye. Bye, Ziggy! Ziggy plays the song! On this day in 1988, the United States Navy warship, the USS Vincennes, shoots down Iran Air Flight 655 over the Persian Gulf, killing all 290 people aboard. This ain't one that makes the history books in American classrooms. No, it doesn't. No, this was bad, man. This was a mistake. And so, if I remember correctly, this was a flight going from Tehran to Dubai. And it was civilians. It was just a bunch of civilians. And what had happened was the Iran-Iraq war was going on. And this was at a time when we were buddies with Saddam Hussein. So we sort of had Iraq's back in the Iran-Iraq war. The USS Vincennes had drifted into Iranian waters earlier. And Iranian Coast Guard boats had fired warning shots to the USS Vincennes that, hey, you're in Iranian water. They were warning shots, and nobody has ever disputed that they're not warning shots. So the Vincennes knew they were in Iranian water. But it was after the warning shots that this commercial airliner flying to Dubai, filled with a bunch of people, flew overhead, and the Vincennes says that they tried to contact the plane multiple times and that the plane wasn't responding. So they thought they were under attack, and so they shot down a plane full of people. And it was a mistake. It wasn't intentional. Nobody believes that, the United States Navy tried to, she's like, hey, check it out. It's a plane load of people going on vacation. Let's end their lives. Nobody believes that. It was a mistake. And it's about how you handle mistakes, right? This is a tragic event. Look, the world is a scary place. Sometimes tragic events happen, and sometimes somebody is the direct cause of it. We were the direct cause of this. We did this. And let me tell you something. Our president, do you remember what our president at the time did? Ronald Reagan? Now, I'm no great. I've always sort of crinkled my nose in the past, not always, in the past, say till about 2016 or so. I had always sort of had a bad taste in my mouth about Reagan. But as I get older and I read more about who the man was, I realized there were two Reagans. There was the Reagan that I always said was totally overrated as a president. That was the Reagan who was a puppet. The story of Ronald Reagan is that he was a puppet. He was a puppet at GE. He was a puppet he was an actor who was prepped for this role. And he was charismatic as he was, he was good looking. He was strong. He could play that John Wayne type. I mean, you forget that, Ronald Reagan was an employee of GE as their brand ambassador for years and years. And then NBC took him. He was a puppet. He was a puppet. He was prepped to become governor of California. The best people were brought around him. He was someone they looked at and said, he fits the suit. We can make him a politician and we can own him. That's the Reagan that I always sort of turned my nose up at. But what I realized is there were two Reagans. There was that Reagan, and then there was the Reagan post being shot. And there's some very interesting stuff written about what Reagan became after the John Hinckley assassination on him. Talked about how he grew into his own man, that he had been prepped up and educated and matriculated his way through the corporate industrial complex that put him in this position. But after being shot, Reagan sort of started being his own guy. He stopped, and he was immensely popular. That's what he understood. He said, I am more popular. GE essentially looked at it like, we've created a monster. But the truth is that Reagan, that man, post-shooting, was a lot more, especially compared to the way politicians are today. Ronald Reagan apologized. Ronald Reagan sent a beautiful note to Iran talking about how heartbroken he is and how he takes full responsibility and how, yes, he did. In fact, this was a mistake. We are responsible. It was a mistake. That's a pretty. If you never admit you're wrong. No, a man of honor and integrity acknowledges that we live in a complicated world and not anybody's perfect. So on occasion, you might have to say you're sorry, not because it's something society expects, but because hopefully you really do feel some regret. And Reagan did. And that was cool, man. I thought that was cool. Now, again, I'm a moderate, so I don't like the extremists of anything. But I can tell you, I would love to have a Ronald Reagan type right now. I mean, I'd vote for that son of a bitch in a minute compared to the crazy people that we have. And this is a bit of a change for me because early Ronald Reagan made some decisions that directly affected my family and its welfare. And for personal reasons, I very much disliked the guy. And then I learned more about him, and I'm like, okay, if I can separate how I was affected by one of his early, we'll call them cuts, how I as a child was affected. If I can separate that and look at the bigger picture, he really did grow into somebody. It was on this day that the United States Navy U.S. warship Vincennes shot down Iran Air Flight 655 over the Persian Gulf, killing all 290 people. A tragic accident. We made a mistake, and our president actually seemed sympathetic about it. He understood that, hey, man, look, this doesn't change the fact that we think you Iran are a bunch of sons of bitches, but man, we didn't mean to kill your people like that. That was a total mistake. We're sorry. Can't complain about that. All right, let's move into birthdays. Buanam, buanam, buana. These are today's birthdays. Buanam, buanam, buanam. On this day, 1941, Gloria Allred, American lawyer and activist. I don't know anything about her. She's a lawyer. She's famous. So there you go. Happy birthday. On this day in 1947, Dave Barry, American journalist and author. Dave Barry is a writer. He writes a bunch of books. I've never read a Dave Barry book. I should. He had a show, right? Dave's World. Didn't Harry Nightcourt played him? What's his name? Harry Anderson. Harry Nightcourt. Harry Nightcourt played him in that show, Dave's World. I don't know anything about Dave Barry. I've never even watched that show. But I do have a friend who loves Dave Barry and quotes him all the time. So I'll say happy birthday to Dave Barry. Also born on this day in 1947, umbilical cousins with Dave Barry, Betty Buckley! Yay! Do we know who Betty Buckley is? Well, if you're an 80s kid, if you're a Gen Xer, you remember Abby from 8 is Enough. Remember Abby was like the hot, young second wife of, what was her name? Baxter? What was that family's name? I don't know. Abby was hooking, even at like 8 years old, I'm looking at Abby hooking up with Dick Van Patten, and I'm going, really? Okay. Good for him. Good for old Dick Van Patten, because he not only was like old and out of shape and balding, and Abby was hot. Betty Buckley was hot. Not only was he that, but he's bringing 8 kids to the table with a dead mom. So Abby's going into this knowing, okay, so the sex is going to be just meh, because look at him. Although maybe, the sex might be great, but it's the lead up. The stimulation is going to be meh. Maybe the sex is great. Maybe that's how it works. She's going to look at him. She's like, oh my God, Dick Van Patten. And he's got 8 kids. Eight kids, by the way. And this was kind of bullshit about 8 is Enough. 8 kids, by the way, who all loved Abby, right? That's not how it would go in real life. Their mother is dead. And now you're just like some hot chippy that their dad is. You think all 8 kids are going to be hugging on Abby? I don't know. Maybe there was a backstory that I missed. Like maybe Abby was like the kid's mom's friend or something. But then wouldn't that be weird? Hey, Dad, why are you sleeping with Aunt Abby, or whatever they called her? Anyway, Betty Buckley. I liked her. I always thought she was a wonderful. She was also the gym coach in. Remember the gym coach in Carrie? Remember Carrie? Yeah, Betty Buckley was the gym coach. Happy birthday, Betty Buckley, born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1952, Laura Branigan. Gloria, right? Gloria. I think I got your number, Gloria. Oh, man, that's one of those cheesy 1980 songs. I love the cheesy 1980 songs, though. Now, I didn't like them then, like not in the moment. Like in the moment, I was too cool. I was like, Laura Branigan? I think not, man. I think not. Hey, have you ever heard of Husker Du? I was like, I was an idiot. But now, like as I get older, like I hear those songs, and I'm like, all right. Why? Because that's what music does. Music, unlike anything else, creates this sort of blanket around your fondest memories. So although in 1986, I may not have enjoyed the song Gloria, there was probably something at some point when that song was a hit that I was doing that was a good time that song has attached it to. So now as I get older and I think back on younger days, I think of that song and you smile, and that's what music does. The magic of music. It attaches to you sentimentally, and that's why you can't explain why I didn't like this song before. Now I can't get enough of it. Speaking of my kid, my kid's really into music. I love how into music he is because he has no bias. He's just pure about it. He either likes it or he doesn't. He finds something interesting in it or he doesn't. Like he doesn't hear something and go, that's just, that's garbage. That's pop garbage. No, he'll find a hook. Like he'll play something new for me. And I'll be like, I'll do the old man thing, but I'll listen because we encourage each other musically anyway, and films and TV and all that stuff. So I'll listen, and he won't be like, he'll focus on just like one aspect of the song. Like, no, I just want you to listen to this, and he'll keep playing it back over and over again. I don't know, I like it. So this weekend, we were driving out to the lake. And he's really getting into REM, like older REM, but he wants to learn every word to "It's the End of the World as We Know It," "That's great, it starts with an earthquake." He just, for a little mental exercise, he wants to memorize every word to that song, and he was struggling with it. And I said, "Dude, I think I got one that's better for you. I think I got one if you wanna try that. Now, you don't know this song, so you're gonna have to just listen to it." He's like, "Yeah, really?" So I played him Billy Joel's "We Didn't Start the Fire." No bias, no nothing. He's never heard the song before, but he's a history buff. So he's listening to all the, Red China, Johnny Ray, all that stuff. He's listening to all this stuff. And we must have listened to "We Didn't Start the Fire" in the past 48 hours, 72 hours, in the past 72 hours, 100 times. He knows all the words now. He knows every word to "We Didn't Start the Fire." It's crazy. So don't tell me I don't have an appreciation for cheesy 80s songs. Laura Branigan, Gloria, American singer-songwriter, born on this day in 1952. Born on this day in 1956, Montel Williams. Montel! I don't know what his story is. I thought he was like a Navy SEAL, and then I thought he was dying. Didn't he stop doing his show because he was dying? I don't know. Montel, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1956, Montel Williams. Born on this day in 1960, Vince Clarke. Vince Clarke, co-founder. Yeah, I think he was a co-founder. He was certainly one of the driving forces behind Depeche Mode in the early days. Left Depeche Mode, formed Erasure, and made a bunch of music with Erasure. Erasure's one of those bands. Erasure's sort of like the opposite that I have with some bands. Like some bands I gave no credit to when I was a kid. Good example of that is Lynyrd Skynyrd and the Allman Brothers. I never gave those bands credit. I always thought that stupid stoner trash music. I was way above that. And then I get in my 30s and I'm like, holy shit. These are two of the greatest American bands of all time. These guys were saying stuff and they were doing things. Anyway, the opposite of that is a band that I really liked when I was a kid, who when I get older, I'm like, I was a friggin' idiot kid. Erasure is kind of like that. Like I rediscovered a CD that I had a couple of years ago, and it was an Erasure. It was a mix of like all these Erasure songs. This is back a couple of years back when my car still had a CD player. And I was driving in the car with my son's mom, and I go, "Oh, we should listen to this." And she's younger than me, and she's not familiar with Erasure or anything like that. So I put the Erasure CD in, and it starts up, and it's going, and I'm listening to this. Doot, doot, doot. It's Casio. Remember the Casio keyboard? It's just like, it's like King of the Casio, that band. It was just like doot, 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 doot. And I could see her losing respect for me with every doot, 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 doot. And I took the CD. I go, boy, oh boy, I took the CD out and I just chucked it out the window. I'm like, that's not good stuff. That's not good stuff. That's really sort of pedestrian kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's just not my thing. And I loved them at 17, 18, 19. Oh my God. Happy birthday to you, Vince Clarke. Born on this day in 1960. How about this one? Born on this day in 1962, Tom Cruise. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. American actor Tom Cruise is celebrating his birthday today. Born on this day in 1962. What does that make? I don't even want to do the math. You guys do it. He's 60-something. 60, 61, 60. I don't know. Yeah, 61. Happy birthday, Tom Cruise. So I was thinking, you know how we like to do drafts? We like to do drafts in the style of the NFL where we do 5 rounds. The first pick, we look at all, like say it's a filmmaker, well, let's say it's a movie, it's Tom Cruise. So we would look at his filmography and we would do a draft of like, this is the first pick. This is the second pick. We do like a 5-round NFL draft. And then I name some other films that I'm going to bring into camp. I'm going to give them free agent, undrafted invites to come into camp so we can take a look at them. I was looking at Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, man. Wow. His filmography is just unbelievable. I've never looked at Tom. I take Tom Cruise for granted. Tom Cruise is just, whatever. Looking at his filmography, I'm like, holy shit, I can't do a 5-round draft on him. First of all, because he's a contemporary actor who has been working in my life, my entire life. I know Tom Cruise's entire career. His entire film career has been my entire life of going to the movies. So it's a difficult filmography to look at because I've seen every one of his movies. So, unlike if I was doing like a Fred Astaire film draft, I like wouldn't have seen all of his movies, so it's easier. So Tom Cruise is a hard draft to do. So what I decided is we have to do micro drafts. We have to do, and there are so many different ways. We could do what are the biggest Tom Cruise movies of all time? Is it Mission Impossible? Is it Top Gun? What the biggest blockbusters? We could do what are the best movies of all time? Tropic Thunder, man, that role, he did Magnolia, he was spectacular in that. A Few Good Men, he was terrific. So, but there's so many different ways we can do it. So here's what I decided to do. I wanted to do a Tom Cruise draft, a 5-round Tom Cruise draft of the 5 times that Tom Cruise was the best at something. Because Tom Cruise has a lot of movies where the whole brand identity of the central character that he's portraying is that he's the best at whatever it is. So here we go. A 5-round Tom Cruise. He's the best at something. He's really good at being the best at shit. Tom Cruise draft 2023. Movies that he's been the best at stuff. All right, number 1. First pick off the board, Tom Cruise, Top Gun. Of course, it's in the title. He's the Top Gun. He's the best. Second round of the Tom Cruise, he's the best draft. We're going to go with Cocktail. Flair bartending. He's the best. He's the best flair. Nobody's ever seen anybody. Tom Cruise Cocktail. With the third pick in the Tom Cruise, he's the best at this draft. We're going with the Color of Color of Money. That's it. Color of Money. Sequel to Fast Eddie Felsen. What was that? Paul Newman's movie with Jackie Gleason. Anyway, it was a sequel to a great. Why am I blanking on the name of that movie? Chat room to the rescue. Anyway, Color of Money is the sequel to this great 60s film. And Paul Newman plays Fast Eddie Felsen, and Tom Cruise plays Vince. We know this because he's wearing a shirt throughout the whole movie that says Vince, a black T-shirt with white letters that say Vince. So we know he's Vince. And he's the best at playing pool. Tom Cruise is the best at playing pool. All right, number 4. Number 1 was Top Gun. Number 2 was Cocktail. Number 3 was The Color of Money. Number 4 in the Tom Cruise draft of things that he's the best at, All the Right Moves. And pipe. Tom Cruise played a football player. He's the best. He's going places. It couldn't just be a scrub. No, he's the best. All the Right Moves. I kind of had to, he wasn't necessarily like the best, but he was like good. And I just love that movie. And when I was going through the list, I'm like, I got to mention All the Right Moves. I love that movie. All right. And finally, the last pick in the Tom Cruise, he's the best at something. Number 5, Days of Thunder. He comes out of nowhere and he's the best at driving NASCARs. You can do this, by the way. That's the top 5. That's the 5-round draft. Tom Cruise. He's the best at something in film. Number 1, Top Gun. 2nd round pick, Cocktail. Second round pick, Cocktail. 3rd round pick, All the Right Moves. 4th round pick, The Color of Money. 5th round pick, Days of Thunder. But man, you know what? No, I'm not going to do it. I was going to say we should take a look at his filmography because I can't do it. I can't do it. There's so much there. As much as I want to be like snaky and snarky about Tom Cruise, that dude has made a lot of movies in the past 40 years, 45 years that I've enjoyed. My God, we didn't even mention Taps. You guys remember Taps? Oh, Tom Cruise made some good movies. The Outsiders. I'm trying to think of what else he did that I like. Risky Business. Oh my God. Tom Cruise. Risky Business could have made he's the best. He throws the best high school parties, that Joel. All right, let's move on. Born on this day, that's Tom Cruise. Happy birthday to Tom Cruise, who was born on this day in 1962. Born on this day in 1962 as well, Thomas Gibson. He was, of course, Greg of Darman. Greg, oh God. I tuned into that show because for a brief moment in time, I thought Jenna Elfman, who played Dharma, I thought she had something. I don't know. There's something about her. I think we were roughly like the same age, I think. And I just thought, I'm like, man, That's first of all, she had a weird body shape, like a great body shape, like tall, thin. I don't know. I was really attracted to Jen Elf, and then she started talking, and I'm like, oh God, she's obnoxious. And Dharma and Greg was not something that I ever got into. I only watched the first couple of episodes before I found out that she was kind of obnoxious. Born on this day in 1964. Here's one. Here's a big one. Yeardley Smith. Isn't it Yeardley Smith Lisa Simpson? Yeah, I think she's Lisa Simpson. Born on this day in 1971, Julian Assange. Australian journalist, publisher, and activist, founded WikiLeaks. Wait, where does it say serial rapist? It doesn't say serial rapist. Okay. Oh, that's too bad. Julian Assange. Major questions I have about that guy. First of all, he dyes his hair gray. He dyed his hair gray when he was still in his late 20s because he knew that he was going to be doing things that people would easily dismiss if he appeared to be like just some kid of his generation. So he purposely made himself look older. That's weird. This guy, and then he's like allegedly raping his way through Europe and on college campuses because all the young college girls were like, he's like Anderson Cooper, except straight and with a edge, something like that. Born on this day, 1971, Julian Assange. I don't even know where he is. Do we know where he is? He was in London. Then I think he was going to be extradited on, the rape charges to Sweden, but he was hiding and I don't know what his deal is, and I don't care. Born on this day in 1973, Patrick Wilson. Now, Patrick Wilson is one of my favorite actors, but I'm only reminded that he's one of my favorite actors when I see him in something, because I always forget he exists. The name itself is so forgettable, Patrick Wilson. I probably went to high school with, 10 Patrick Wilsons. I've probably known 10 Patrick Wilsons myself. It's just not a great name. And then he's so indistinguishable from any number of other actors. he's very much I don't even know what class of actor he's in. But anyway, here's how I know I like Patrick Wilson. Because every time I see him in something, I go, oh, I like that actor. Who is that? And then I look it up and I go, oh, it's Patrick Wilson. Oh, yeah. So happy birthday to Patrick Wilson. Born on this day in 1973. Born on this day in 1980, my reigning favorite Olivia on earth, Olivia Munn. Olivia Munn was born on this day in 1980. I used to have an Olivia ranking because I believe that Olivia, much the same way Heather was between 1985 and 1995, Olivia is the name of a beautiful woman. You cannot be named Olivia and not be beautiful. I mean, I used to have a list of the top 5 most beautiful Olivias. Now, it was always at the top, sort of, it was always Olivia Wilde, followed by Olivia Munn. And I that was the one too. And Olivia Wilde has disappointed me the way she treated Ted Lasso and ran off with Harry Styles, and I don't like it. So Olivia Munn has ascended to the top position in my favorite Olivia's list. Happy birthday, Olivia Munn. I also like that she effed with. She's blamed for Aaron Rodgers having a bad season. I guess they broke up or something, and then he had a below average season for Aaron Rodgers, which, whatever that is. But I like that. I'm a Bear fan. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so I was a little upset that she was banging Aaron Rodgers, but whatever. All right, she got in his head, made him throw a couple of picks. That's good. I like it. Olivia Munn, born on this day in 1980. Born on this day in 1987. A little shout out to my F1 people. Hi, F1 people. Sebastian Vettel. German race car driver. Sebi. I don't know anybody calls him Sebi. Just trying to make myself more familiar. No, I do. I like Sebastian Vettel though. He's the oldest. I believe he's the oldest driver. Is he still driving? Didn't he come back? They brought him back. He lost his ride, and then I don't know what's going on with Sebastian Vettel. Whatever. I just like him, and I love the name. That's a cool name. Cool name, man. Sebastian Vettel. I don't know. It just sounds cool. All right, let's go through some deaths. Here's a segment that we like to call, These Are the People Who've Died. These are the people who've died. What we do here is we go through a list of individuals who have passed away on this very day. And we acknowledge 2 absolute truths around here, and that is that the world is filled with a-holes. There's a whole bunch of jerky people out there, and everybody dies. Thus, a-holes die every day. We don't have to mourn them all and act like what a loss. So we do this little segment here where we talk about some people and famous people, and we decided, do we really care? Because some famous people, it's like, oh yeah, man, I care about. Other people, it's like, yeah, maybe my grandma would have cared, but yeah, not on my radar. All right, so let's do that. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Do we care? Dead on this day in 896. Dong Chang. Dong Chang was a Chinese war. Dong Chang. No, we don't care. And honestly, I just wanted to say Dong Chang. I love that. That sounds like a Chinese porn star. Dong Chang. Dead on this day in 1898. Nope. Just 3 numbers. Concentrate. Get it together. Dead on this day in 896. Chinese warlord, Dong Chang. Dead on this day in 1969, Brian Jones, English guitarist, songwriter, and producer, founder of the Rolling Stones, the original boss of the Rolling Stones. Brian Jones died on this day in 1969. Do we care? Yeah, we care. Yeah. Brian Jones was the boss. Here's why we care. We don't know what the Rolling Stones would have been had Brian Jones stayed alive, because Brian Jones had a lot of influence in that band. He had way more influence than Keith, and he was the guy that chose Mick. So he had a lot of influence in that band. And then he died. And it was when he died that, Keith and Mick, they had always been Brian had some problems. So for a little while, Keith and Mick had already started gravitating towards taking the lead of the band. But it was really only after Brian Jones left that it truly became Keith and Mick, and the Rolling Stones became what the Rolling Stones are. And you have to wonder, if Brian Jones had survived, would the Rolling Stones, because the Rolling Stones are the biggest rock band in history. Just look at their output. Look at the years they've stayed together. Look at how long they are the big. But, there are other great bands from that era. If Brian Jones is still there, are the Rolling Stones more in league with like the Kinks than they are with like the Beatles? And the Rolling Stones are really the biggest rock band in history. People were going to debate that kind of thing, but come on. Come on. Just give them credit for being around for so long. Put them at the top until they're all dead, and then you can move whoever you want into second. But, I don't care. But I wonder. That's interesting. So do we care that Brian Jones died? Yeah, we do, because it would have been interesting to see what would have happened. Dead on this day in 1971, Jim Morrison, American singer-songwriter. Bathtub, right? Bathtub in Paris. Do we care? Yeah, I think we care. Boy, that Val Kilmer performance as Jim Morrison in The Doors was great, wasn't it? It was great. I gotta watch that again. I haven't seen The Doors. This just reminded me that I loved that movie, The Doors, when I saw it in the theater. I think I probably saw it 3 times in the theaters. I went alone and watched. I just loved that movie, and I didn't even like The Doors, which was so crazy. I wasn't a Doors guy. I appreciate The Doors, right? But I feel their music is pretty self-indulgent and needless, unnecessarily long. Some of their stuff, but their hooks and Ray Manzarek's keyboards, a lot of that stuff appeals to me. There's a lot of good stuff there, but I just like the story. And I think mostly I really liked Val Kilmer's portrayal of Jim Morrison, who died on this day in 1971. Do we care? Yes, of course we care. Of course we care. Dead on this day in 1986, Rudy Valley, American singer, saxophonist, and actor who's born in 1901. Rudy Valley. For a couple of seconds, I'm like, yeah, we care. But then I remembered, no, that's Frankie Valli. I don't know who the hell Rudy Valley is. God love you, sir. But I can't be worried about you. Dead on this day in 1989. The great Jim Backus. I am preemptively, yes. Yeah, we care about Jim Backus. Oh, you don't care about Jim Backus dying on this day in 1989? Okay, fine. I guess you didn't appreciate his work as Thurston Howell III. I guess you didn't appreciate his work as Mr. Magoo. I guess you didn't appreciate his work at, look, first of all, if you grew up watching cartoons in the 1970s, Jim Backus did like every cartoon voice. And because, we were also at the same time watching reruns of Gilligan's Island, we knew what they looked like. So it was like, man, Thurston Howell. And then you hear like Mr. Magoo, and I'm like, oh, that's actually Mr. Howell. I know what I don't know. It was great. Do we care? Yeah. Yeah, I love Jim Backus. He was awesome. Jim, you know me, I hate the 1%ers. And Jim Backus is one of the earliest reasons as to why I went in that direction. His portrayal of Thurston Howell. I'm like, that's what they're like. On this day in 1989, Jim Backus died. Do we care? Yeah. On this day in 1993, Don Drysdale passes away, American baseball player and sportscaster. Don Drysdale, do we care? Well, let's see. Don Drysdale was a Dodger. I don't much care about that. He was a great pitcher. I care about that because I'm a baseball head. He was a good pitcher. Here's the thing about Drysdale. Drysdale was a very good pitcher. He's a great pitcher. He's fine. But, he's not in the same league as Koufax, right? I mean, he's not. But here's the thing. Don Drysdale was handsome. And Don Drysdale was charismatic. And back in those days, the Dodgers television, the Brooklyn Dodgers had moved to LA television. So a lot of Dodgers were like doing walk-ons in our favorite 60s and 70s, TV shows. Don Drysdale, of course, appeared in the Brady Bunch. That's where I know him. He was the guy from the Brady Bunch. I didn't know from the Dodgers back then, and I certainly didn't know Dodgers who played in the 60s. So that was my awareness of Don Drysdale. Then years later in the 1980s, he became a play-by-play guy for the Chicago White Sox, and I never understood that. I'm like, this guy's a Dodger from the Brady Bunch. Why is he calling games on the South Side? I don't like it. But that being said, yeah, we care. Don Drysdale, dead on this day, 1993, American baseball player and sportscaster. Preemptive. This is a preemptive. This is an extended preemptive. Because we care. We care. You don't care about this one? I don't want to know you. Hey, bud. Hey, buddy, what's going on? I'm still mad at you, right? Don't lick your stuff. Say hi. Oh, there you go. All right, you're going to sit in your little chair. Whoop. Sorry, that thing's moving. There you go. She's just going to sit in her chair now. Of course, she left the studio door open. So I'm going to have to clean that. CeeLo. See, look at the tail. The tail. She's ignoring me, but she can't control her tail. The tail is telling me she's... CeeLo, hey! Don't lick your stuff. I hate when she licks. She leaves big butt. CeeLo, I told this... Hey! There you go. I told a story about you today. I did. I told about how in George Michael's yard, how you want to have the sex with the people who live in George Michael's house. You want to have sex with their dogs. Yeah, look at you. You should be ashamed. You should be. This is the face of shame. Look at her. All right. She's giving me side eye. All right, that's CeeLo. Guys, I got to take a quick break because I got to close the door and make sure that the studio is secure because the dog just jumps up on her legs and she does whatever she wants with the studio. That's how she rolls. That ain't right, is it? There we go. Is that more right? Okay. Hold on. Let me give me a quick second here. And then I'll tell you about the extended preemptive do we care death. Because we're gonna spend a lot of time, but we're gonna spend a little time. Because we care. And if you don't care, I don't want to know you. That's right. Because, ladies and gentlemen, it was on this day in 2012 that we lost Andy Griffith. Think about that. All you people who are like, well, I don't care. I'm not going to just sight unseen trust Pugs when he tells me that I have to care about this people. You tell me the name, Pugs. And then I'll make up my mind. You feel like a jerk now. Andy Griffith. I mean, talk about an American icon, right? I mean, whether it's the Andy Griffith Show or Matlock or all... You know who's kind of like that? Who we still have? What's going on with my... Hold on. I feel like this is a little bit weirder. Yeah, Fast Outdoor Food. Great actor. Yeah, Andy Griffith was a great actor. And I don't think that... because his most famous roles did not require great acting. Andy Taylor didn't on the Andy Griffith Show. Andy Taylor, Sheriff Taylor, didn't require great acting. It required immense charisma and likability. That's what he had to be. He just had to dial it down to the point where I'm just going to be the nicest guy in the world. And he nailed it. So if that is an aspect of acting, I guess that would be another indicator. I just think it's one that we take for granted. Matlock, same thing. He was just like the wonderful, brilliant grandpa in Matlock. But Andy Griffith could act, man. And I direct everyone's attention to his greatest role, one of the greatest films ever made, A Voice in the Crowd, where he plays a character named Lonesome Rhodes, who rises from criminal con man, derelict bum riding the rails. He graduates from that to the most powerful and influential broadcaster in America, and he turns everybody into the same kind of monster idiot that he truly is. Oh, A Voice in the Crowd. You got to see this movie if you haven't seen it. So do we care that Andy Griffith has passed away on this? Yes, we do. We love Andy Griffith. We love it. All right, that's going to do it. Those are all of the, those are the events. Those are the previously on things that happened on this day. Those are the birthdays, and those are the passings. So we took a good amount of time on that. We're in no hurry today. I mean, here's how we're in a hurry. I got a 14-year-old who's downstairs, and he's got electronic devices and all that kind of stuff, and he seems very content. Last I checked on him, he seemed to be going for his third round of Lucky Charms. He had the full box in his hand and was moving in his underwear from the kitchen back into wherever it is that he's. So things seem good. So, just so you know, we don't have anything really planned today. Today is the lay around day after 3 consecutive hardcore days at the lake. Two for him. Yeah. What else did I want to mention before we get in here? Oh, tip the show if you can, please, folks. The show runs on your gratuities. We certainly do appreciate it. We can't do these kinds of things without your help. So PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is you can do, we would greatly appreciate it. What else did I need to mention? Yeah. Look, support this kind of talk, because if we can keep this kind of thing going, maybe talk radio will change in this country, and it won't be just politically driven. That's what we're trying to do with this. So help out if you can. We certainly would appreciate it. All right, let's move into the topics for today. All of the things that are happening in the world right now. Let's start out with, all right, so here's what we're doing with today's topics, because I knew this is a crazy time to try and find news stories because nobody's working. Everybody is on vacation, and that includes the journalists. That includes the people who file stories. So I started since Friday, because I wasn't doing a show on Friday. Since Friday, I just started cherry picking important issues, important stories, interesting headlines that have been trending since Friday, and just sort of putting them as a safety net. And then sure enough, I open up, start my research this morning. I'm like, my God, there's just nothing but like stupid 4th of July related things. And, there's not really there's no breaking news. Breaking news will be tragic breaking news, but there is no breaking news like a Supreme Court decision or, anything like that, because everybody's on vacation. So, so today's show is going to include a number of topics that aren't necessarily indicative of today, but of the past 48 hours or so of stuff that's going around. Okay. Hold on. I need some coffee before we get into this, because I got to tell you, I don't like this first story. This first story bothers me. I'm not built for this nonsense. I'll explain in a second. So Twitter, we're going to talk about Twitter here. Twitter, the big announcement was made over the weekend, and it caused a lot of people to sort of, get pissed off, me among them. I enjoy Twitter. I've enjoyed Twitter since 2009, I think. I think I've been on Twitter for 14 years, probably their entire existence. I used to be a primary Facebook guy up until about 4 or 5 years ago, and then I switched over to Twitter. Twitter is by far my primary platform. I think that I've curated a list of people that I follow that I really like. I had no problem with Twitter. When there aren't any real problems, people will complain because it gets them attention. They like attention. That's all. It's just about them. It's not about some problem that concerns all of us. It's just, people complaining. People complained a lot about Twitter. But in the past year, since Elon Musk has taken it over, the ads are intrusive now. I mean, look, he made a bad business deal. Here's the thing. He made a terrible business deal. His ego he announced on Twitter, maybe I should just buy it. And then everybody's like, yeah. And then it became an ego thing with him. And they just housed him on the deal. It's like going to go down in history as one of the most absurd business deals ever done. They were forced to take the deal because the offer was made. Anyway. he had to go through. Don't you remember? Like he had to go through with it, and then Tesla started to tank, so he had to go and get additional funding. He wasn't going to be able to just use his own 46 million or whatever. It was a big debacle. We remember it. Is he taking it over? Is he not? So anyway, his ego literally made him write a check that now he's in charge of this, which appears to be to him nothing more than an albatross. It is just this giant behemoth that is sucking up. So he's been trying a whole bunch of ways to make more money. And the blue thing, all of a sudden he needs us to pay him $8 a month. Twitter survived fine. It was thriving. Hell, you paid $46 billion for it. Twitter was fine. And now you need to find ways to make extra income. You need to turn it in. This was free over-the-air network programming with an acceptable amount of advertisement intrusions. We were all okay with that. And that's how you bought it for $46 billion. Now, all of a sudden, now there's more ads. You need to generate more now. Something that was free and worth $46 billion by your own admission. Now something that was free. Now suddenly everybody's got to pay for a blue check. Now it's got to be HBO. It was free TV. Now it's HBO. After like 10 years. And I'm like, no, not going to, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to be a part of Elon Musk's panic attack because that's what that's about. He needs to start making money off of this thing. And he needs to make money with exponential growth as compared to the way this thing was before. So he's essentially ruining it. He is completely ruining it. I was still playing. I saw how limited my posts had become. I saw the drop off in engagements once they moved to the blue check thing because I don't pay for the blue check. I watched how the account was being affected and I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. He's just gonna bunch of idiots who want to pay $8 for something that had always been free because a billionaire made a bad business deal. Okay, you fucking cucks. Seriously. I mean, what is that? So now, over the weekend, he made another announcement, right? Now, I was on a boat when I first learned about this, and I'm like, what the? He is limiting accounts now. Now, he says that he's limiting accounts because of data scraping, and I'm not even going to begin to try and explain or understand. I couldn't try to explain it. I don't understand it. I don't know what that means. But here's the story, just so that we're all on the same page. Thousands of Twitter users report problems accessing site. Okay, hold on. Thousands of Twitter users. Pop-ups. Seriously? You know what? No, that's fine. It's acceptable. It's acceptable to me to be hit with an ad for some content that I'm going to now consume at no cost to myself. Considering somebody has to be paid to do this, I will watch the ad. And now I will hit skip at the very first opportunity. There we go. Thousands of Twitter users report problems accessing the site as Elon Musk says new limits have been installed. In a tweet Saturday afternoon, Elon Musk said that verified accounts are now limited to reading 10,000 posts a day. Okay, what else did he say? As thousands of Twitter users, okay, here it is. To address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation. Is this really to address that, or is it just a way for you to try and force people to pay your $8 a month? But I get it. I got it. You can't just come out and say I made one of the most catastrophic business deals in history, and now I'm just desperately trying to get something out of this behemoth. To address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation, we've applied the following temporary limits. Verified accounts are limited to reading 6,000 posts per day. All right. 6,000 posts for verified accounts. $8. That's why you're paying your $8. You get 6,000. Unverified accounts, like myself, I'm limited to 600. 600. So for $8 a month, I can get 6,000, but for free, I get 600. I don't know what 600 is. New unverified. Boy, if you're excited about all you've heard about Twitter and you want to open up a new account today, you're going to be limited to 300 views per day. I don't know what 600 posts per day is. I don't know what my usual use is. I know I scroll Twitter all day long, and I'm absolutely certain that at some point, now, are these temporary? I don't know. Let's find out. In an update, he said rate limits would soon increase to 8,000 for verified users and 800 for unverified. Oh, thank you. Oh, please, sir. May I have 200 more views, sir? Oh, fuck. I'm so past Twitter right now. Musk said in his original tweet that the change is temporary. Okay. All right. All right. You know what? If that is in fact the truth, then maybe I can sit this out. But let's learn more about this. Musk said in his original tweet that the change is temporary and was put in place to address extreme levels of data scrapping. Again, not for that. It's temporary to scare people who've maybe been on the fence about paying the $8 to pay the $8 to get the blue check so they can pretend like they're, I don't know, somebody. Musk said in his original tweet that the change is temporary and was put in place to address extreme levels of data scraping and system manipulation. It's the latest widespread outage since he acquired the social media site last year. Many users who tried to access or post content on Twitter's website or mobile app were met with a rate limit exceeded or cannot retrieve tweets error message. All right. So there's other things that are being said about this, like that this has something to do with Google. In fact, or look, both things can be true. There can be multiple reasons for this, but there's another story about how Elon, and when I say Elon, I mean Twitter. Elon has a $1 billion Google bill coming, something about Google Cloud or something like that. I'm not sure, but $1 billion, and he doesn't want to pay it. So, and the charges from Google are based on how much, I don't know. Whatever. Here's what I do know. I'm going to be on Facebook a lot more. I can't. I'm gonna keep my Twitter account, but I'm not gonna. I gotta wean myself off Twitter. I don't like this stuff anymore. So I'm gonna be going back to Facebook. I may even be looking into Instagram. I have my Instagram. I've never done anything on Instagram. I'll start letting you know. I don't even know what my Instagram name is, right? So I mean, on Facebook though, if you're not already following me on Facebook, if you're one of my Twitter friends, let's see, what am I on Facebook? I don't even know. I need to. Well, there's Pugs and Company on Facebook. You can do that one. But my personal one that I use is, well, we'll see once it downloads. Pugs Moran. Oh, Jesus. Seriously? I had to look that up. Oh, my God. All right. Pugs Moran on Facebook or Pugs and Company on Facebook and all that stuff. So I'll be over there. Also, there's this new thing. You guys ever heard of this Blue Sky? All right, so a lot of people that I follow on Twitter, they've been posting, all right, I'm moving to Blue Sky, I'm moving to Blue Sky, I'm moving to Blue Sky. I don't know what Blue Sky is, but I went to Blue Sky, and it said that I've got to sign up for a waiting list. So I'm like, what? Now I'm on a waiting list for a free app that I don't even know that I want to. So I don't know what Blue Sky is, but I will let you know if they've accepted me. What am I moving into a Central Park West apartment? I need to be approved by the Blue Star. What? I don't know. It's just an email. I don't know. And I don't know what Blue Sky is. Maybe you do. I don't know. Twitter. That's why Twitter is trending. France is another big story that's going on today. France, they've had like rioting for like 4 days in a row. Here's the situation. A 17-year-old Algerian immigrant was stopped by police on Tuesday of last week. He ended up dead. Now, I would love to get up on my soapbox and go, this is, murder of another bad cop. Or I'd like to say, they're going to rise up for the, I don't know what the hell is going on over there. All I can tell you is, because there's a lot of bullshit. Speaking of Twitter, there's a lot of nonsense going on around what's happening in France. Don't believe anything. Just believe the facts as we know them. There was a traffic stop. A kid got shot. A bunch of people are upset, just as we are here in America. And now there's a whole bunch of fires. But man, if you're out here believing these rumors that this is the European Antifa invasion of continental Europe, stop it, you crazy people. This is no different than Minneapolis. This is no different than St. Louis. This is no different than any of the situations that we've seen in the past, although it does seem bigger. I will give them that. And here's the French know how to throw a revolution. That's why you got to keep your finger on this one because the French, the French Revolution, man, that was our revolution was a war and all. French they cut people's head off in great spectacle. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like if there seems to be, I don't understand. There is a certain segment of the political wackadoos out there who are pushing this as like this is the beginning of the fall of Europe and the white supremacists. You're seeing a lot of like the right wing people say stuff like this is a race war and it's starting in Europe. Stop it, man. They're overthrowing Macron's government. I don't know when they rioted in Minneapolis. Were we saying they're overthrowing the Obama government or did it happen under Trump? I don't remember. Anyway. France, serious shit is happening there, but I don't think it's a war. It's not a war. Actually, that is the headline that I saw. This is war, and I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe this is stepped up. Maybe something new is happening, and then they use that headline because that's just something that a cop said. A cop said this is war against these people. It's okay, so it's not war. It's not like governments are now there's tanks and stuff. Now there are tanks, but those are all French special forces and stuff like that. 45,000 police. Hold on a second. Hang on one second. Give me a second here. I'll be right back. We're not going anywhere today. All right, I apologize. And I apologize if I just screamed into the microphone. I don't have my headphones on to regulate. This is going to be. Ugh. So, what happened was I thought I heard a scream. I thought I heard a scream, and as I said, I got my kid here, and he's all the way downstairs, and he wouldn't. I don't know what was going on. I had to go check it. I thought I heard something, which is stupid because I'm wearing headphones. Okay, so let's get back to it. Anyway, France. So in wrap up, 45,000 police have been dispatched to all the major cities in France. They're all on fire. Yeah, I mean, it does look bad. But here's all we know about this. We know that a 17-year-old was stopped by police, and the 17-year-old is now dead. But we don't know anything. Like I'm seeing headlines. He was executed. Oh, stop it. We have no idea what happened. We're here in America. I don't read French language newspapers. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. I will say this though, and it's interesting, and it may honestly just be a matter of it's 4th of July weekend, and there's not a whole lot of news being created. There's news happening, but it's not being reported. People are like, why is the American media ignoring the French thing? I have to say, on one hand, I kind of agree. It does seem like there's not a whole lot of attention being paid to it. But then again, it's 4th of July weekend. So there's not a whole lot of attention being paid to anything. So I don't know. Crackpots, kooks, conspiracy theorists, all these people, they're gonna look at something and find, the craziest explanation for it. Whereas I look at it and I go, I don't think I have enough information to have any kind of explanation for this right now. And that's France. Baltimore. There was a shooting in Baltimore on Saturday night. 3 people are dead. 30 people have been injured. This was at a block party. Baltimore block party. It's summertime. 3 people are dead. Does this seem particularly unique? I don't know. This seems like summer violence in some of America's most dangerous neighborhoods. These kinds of things. Again, the shootings that I'm most concerned about are the dude walks into a mall and decides to take everybody out with him because he doesn't like a Supreme Court decision. You know what I mean? Crazy people. Those are the people that I worry about. But I'm not really, I don't think I need to be concerned about a shooting at a block party in inner city Baltimore. I'm never going to go to a block party in inner city Baltimore. So for me, it's Now, if this had happened in the parking lot of a Target, I'd be like, holy shit, I go to Target all the time. Again, 3 people are dead. 30 people have been injured Saturday night at a block party shooting. It seems to me, it just seems like 2 gangs got into a gang war at a block party and a bunch of people got in between, right? That's Mick Jagger is trending. Mick Jagger's trending because he's getting married again. He's 80 years old. Actually, he's 79, but come on. Let's just call him what he is. He's 80 years old. Mick Jagger is married and she's 36. So he's breaking every rule in the appropriate age difference. What is it again? So it is a dude. Hold on. So it is your age. So if you're a dude, here's the rule. It's your age and he's 79. Okay, hold on. 79. I got to do this in my head. Okay, so the rule is, and I always have trouble with this because I'm bad at math, but if you're Mick Jagger and you're 79, you I don't know what's half of 70. It's your age divided by 2 plus 7. So that number is 46, right? For Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger's number is 46. Mick Jagger at 79 years old is not allowed to date anyone under 46. 46 is his limit. He's marrying a 36-year-old. She's 36. He is blowing through the stop signs. Why? Because he's Mick Jagger. He can do these things. Rolling Stone, Mick Jagger is engaged to girlfriend Mel Hamrick. Man. And of course, she's Mick Jagger caliber. She's a Mick Jagger caliber 36-year-old. If you can imagine that. Melanie, she's 36, sparked speculation last month by wearing what she laughed off as a promise ring from the Rolling Stone singer, 79, on her engagement finger. Rocker Sir Mick Jagger and long-term girlfriend Melanie Hamrick are engaged. Melanie, 36, sparked the rumors with her. We talked about that. She's showing it off, her promise ring. Pals say the former ballerina who met she's classy too. She's ballerina. She comes from the classy world. It's not like of course. That's Mick Jagger quality. The former Miss Universe and MIT rocket scientist, that's Mick Jagger quality. Brains, hots. A source said Melanie was at the American Ballet Theater, and she was telling her friends that she was now engaged to Mick. She was very clear her ring is an engagement ring and that she is now his fiance. Her family also very much understood them to be engaged and are thrilled. Yeah, her parents are much younger than Mick Jagger. Mick Jagger's old enough to be her grandpa. Like Mick Jagger is old enough to be her dad's father. That's whatever. Anyway, hey, he's Mick Jagger. We make exceptions for certain people, and I think Mick Jagger is someone we make an exception for. Kevin Spacey is in the news because Kevin Spacey's trial over there in England is going on. I tell you, Kevin Spacey, he's been knocking down every charge against him. All of the things he was charged with here in America, the groping, the grooming, the touching, the assault, all of that stuff. Whether it was the California case, the Martha's Vineyard case, or the New York City Manhattan case, he has won them all. Winning them all is not true. He won the very high-profile New York one against actor Anthony Rapp. He won that one. The Martha's Vineyard one was thrown out. And the one in California, there were two people who brought charges. One of them died, so that case went away. And then the second person who had charges against Spacey, he quit. He said, never mind, not bringing charges, or maybe there was a settlement. I don't know. But at any rate, all of these cases, he's been knocking them down. So here he stands before a British magistrate facing these final round of accusations now, this time in a London court. Here's what it says about this. He spent a bunch of years in England as like the theater director of the Globe Theatre. So he was like this big man at the Globe Theatre, and all these young actors were like, oh, please, teach us how to be an actor, all that stuff. So he apparently used his influence and his gravitas and his, spaciness to what they're saying, groom and sexually manipulate these young people. So first of all, let me just read you the story, and then I'll tell you what I think. Now, also, you should know this about me. I love Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey is an amazing actor. I will watch Kevin Spacey in anything. Here's the other thing about Kevin Spacey. I fully admit that dude is a jagbag. Nobody likes Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey has been an arrogant, elitist, mean jerk of a human for 20 years in Hollywood. It's well known. That's his personality. Don't you see that in him when he acts? That, oh, yeah, I'm better than you. You're not. He's like that all the time. People don't like him, okay? People don't like him. Which is why you haven't heard a lot of people coming to his defense in this whole thing over the few years that it's been going on. Hell, the entire cast and crew of his Netflix show, House of Cards, kicked him out. That was his show. He was the star. I know they did it with Roseanne too, but Roseanne was different because those people on Roseanne, John Goodman likes Roseanne. Sarah Gilbert, not so much, but you know what I mean? Anyway, they kick out Kevin Spacey from House of Cards, and everybody's like, oh, thank God that's over. Oh, and they just went ahead with another season without him. They just replaced him with Robin Wright. Now, granted, that was like the worst season, and it was also the season that, was designated to be the final season, but still, they just moved on without him. They couldn't be more pleased to be done with Kevin Spacey. So, great actor, enjoy him on film, but I fully acknowledge he's a jerk that nobody likes. An alleged sex assault victim of Kevin Spacey said the slippery Hollywood actor had tried to groom him, and the repeated groping assaults had left him feeling physically sick, a London court heard on Monday. Spacey, 63, is on trial accused of a dozen allegations of historic sex offenses committed against four men, then aged in their 20s and 30s. Okay. Grooming. You're in your 20s. You are a professional actor in London who has risen in this profession to the point where you're at the Globe Theatre. And you're working under Kevin Spacey. The Globe Theatre is not like, the little playhouse around the corner. The Globe Theatre is an international, not the Globe. This is the Vic, right? The Vic. Okay. At any rate, you are not in the minor leagues of stagecraft. Okay. You're a grown up. Maybe can't be groomed is my point. What happened to you wasn't grooming. If you were 25 years old studying and, at this great, prestigious, dramatic theater, if you're that age and some creepy dude in his 50s grabs your junk, you're not being groomed. You're being hit on. Now, you either like that or you don't. Now, is that assault? Sure. If you want to take it that way, that's fine. But That's what it is. Kevin Spacey grabbed a bunch of these guys' junk, and now they're going, he was grooming me. You're 25, you bitch. You're not 12. 12-year-olds get groomed, not 22-year-olds. What? Come on now. And again, I am not defending Kevin Spacey. He seems to be a creep of the highest order. But if that's the heat they're bringing against him in court, it was grooming me. How old were you? 34. Yeah, no, sorry. You're an adult. You're not being groomed. Stop it. Spacey's denied all the charges. You know you grabbed these guys' D's. You know that. Spacey has denied all the charges. His lawyer, Patrick Gibbs, said last week at the start of the trial, the jury were going to hear a bunch of damned lies. On Monday, the court was shown a recorded police interview with the first of the alleged victims. The man said the actor had assaulted him on up to 12 occasions over a period of about 4 years in the early 2000s, grabbing his private areas when they were alone, such as in a car or in an elevator. After 2 to 3 weeks of being with Spacey, the actor made him feel uncomfortable, rubbing the man's legs and neck while he was driving before later starting to grope him or force the man's hand onto his own genitalia, the actor said. He was almost, from the get-go, grooming me, the man said in the interview. No, he wasn't. He was hitting on you. He's a gay man who doesn't know his boundaries. Now, you may have been assaulted because man to man, he grabbed your junk and you might not like it, and I think that's probably actionable, but you weren't being groomed. You were an intern. There's a difference. You're a grown-up working in the grown-up world. Stop making it sound like he was a pedophile and then you were some infant. He's just a creep. He's just a creepy bad guy. Describing himself as a man's man, the accuser described myself as a man's man. Describing himself as a man's man, the accuser recounted that he had threatened to knock the actor out if he did it again. To which Spacey had replied, "That's such a turn on to me." Yeah. That's Spacey. That's unflappable. When you're broken to brain like Kevin Spacey appears to be, you are unflappable. He described the Oscar winner as a slippery, snaky, difficult person. Yeah, you and everybody else. A mixed-up individual who was very confused about his sexuality. The man said Spacey's behavior was an open secret at the London Vic Theatre, where he worked for more than a decade. It was well known that he was obviously up to no good, so to speak, the man said. He's sick. All right, so what we have here is Kevin Spacey, a gay man, trying to find out if some of these actors who are in his theater, under his theater tutelage, were also into it. Like, could he get a little sex? Assault? I don't think so. I mean, look, I can see how if you wanted to make it assault, but if a gay guy like walked up to me and like patted my balls or something like that, I'd shove him away and threaten to hit him or something, or be like, hey, do that again and we got a problem. I don't know. I'm going to the police. And that how? And now, and now, like, all right. So I had a friend who was gay who used to call that the homo handshake, and I don't know if that's real or not, but he said it and it was funny. He was also a comedian, but he called it the homo handshake. And he said that's the thing that like gay people do to find out if the other guy's gay. So, Spacey went fishing in the wrong pond a couple of times, as will happen. But I'm telling you, I don't think he's going to, if that's it, if they're going after like grooming charges against him and these are grown, there's no way he's going to escape this one too. Kevin Spacey will be back. He'll be fully cleared. And I don't think he has a career, though. I think so much has come out about what a D-bag he is. Maybe him and Amanda Heard can do something. Remember Amanda Heard? Now that we all know that she poops on beds, maybe he and Amanda Heard could do something wacky. I don't know. All right, there you have it. Kevin Spacey. ESPN has been trending all weekend because on Friday they decided to blow out a whole bunch of folks. ESPN. Hold on, let me make sure we get this. ESPN got McAfee'd. I love Pat McAfee. I think he is the future of the way sports content could be delivered. I love his attitude. I love that he's a bit of a meatball, but also there's definitely a very smart man under there. Very, very intuitive thinker. He's really good with issues, and he surrounds himself with really interesting experts. It's a good show. He does sport. He's sort of reinvented I love sports talk, right? I love sports talk so much. I'm never going to do it. We never even tried to do it because that's something that I enjoy listening to. I don't want to have all the magic ruined for me the way talk radio has ruined me on so many levels. But I think Pat McAfee has done a great job. And I think that ESPN also recognized that. And they went, okay, this is the future of how we're going to need him in our fold. So they went and they basically gave Pat McAfee everything. They gave him the entire Monday through Friday. He is going to control like 10 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever time that his show airs. They're going to run it. They're going to run his show live. He's also now going to be participating on panels and other things on other ESPN shows. They're basically going to make him the most high profile person. And in this process, they're cutting people. They're getting rid of people. They're trying to, I don't know what ESPN is doing, but make no mistake, all of these things have to do with financial situations that they found themselves in right now. A lot of those financial situations may be due to promises they've made to Pat McAfee. They also need to make time in their broadcast day, so they're cutting. ESPN parts ways with 2 more TV personalities. 2 more names have been reportedly added to the growing list of ESPN employees parting ways with the company this week. Sports betting insider Doug Kazarian's contract will not be renewed, this according to Front Office Sports. And boxing analyst Andre Ward, former world champ, has announced that he's parting ways with the organization as well. And then it goes to a little post that Andre Ward put up. Yep, he's out. Ward and Kazarian join a long list of big names that will no longer be a part of ESPN. That list includes, here you go, some big names. Jeff Van Gundy is gone from basketball coverage, as is Vince Carter, as is Max Kellerman and Keyshawn Johnson have also both been let go. Now, this is directly because of the Pat McAfee thing. Not that their shows overlapped or anything, but they didn't want to dedicate that much time to live. I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but I used to love J. Will, Keyshawn, and Max. That was the morning show that ESPN put together. I thought it had promise. There are a lot of problems with it. You had a lot of egos on that show, and sometimes the conversation didn't have the chemistry that you want, but I did enjoy that show. I can tell you just from purely clips, when you watch the clips on YouTube, the hot clips that they put out are good. So there are moments when you think that show could have been something. Well, they gave up on it, and Max Kellerman and Keyshawn Johnson are gone. Susie Colbert is gone. ESPN mainstay Susie Colbert has been given her walking papers. Todd McShay has been given his walking papers. Steve Young. Have a couple beers with me, and I'll tell you how Steve Young is undeniably the greatest football quarterback ever to play the sport of football. He's gone, though. Steve Young is gone. Matt Hasselbeck is gone. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people that we used to see on ESPN that are now gone. Here's a spooky ass video here. We got to show you this one. You see this? This was trending. Hold on, let me pull it up. It's going to take me a minute here because I am not prepared as I do this. Hey, good time to remind you, help out the show if you can. We certainly rely on your tips, your gratuities. Treat me like your bartender. Treat me like I'm your pizza delivery guy. This show, 5 shows, Monday through Friday, noon till whenever, typically 2 o'clock, but it looks like we're going to blow past that today. We do these shows, and then we do the nighttime shows, 9 o'clock Monday through Thursday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Radio Misfits show. So this one, high noon, an attempt to do talk radio that isn't political or divisive by nature. And then the nighttime show, 9 o'clock, it's just a group of guys. It's me, James Parker, and E. We chop up the day's events. We get into silly conversations. That's a little bit more conversational and light. This one's a little bit more, infotainment. So thank you very much. You can tip at Venmo or PayPal or any of that stuff. End of the month. We blew through the end of the month. We didn't get to really push for it. So if you can help out, that would be great. We need to help this month, as we do every month. You get tired of me saying this. All right. So I want to talk about this. This is trending. This. Where is it now? Where is it now? Hold on. No. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is at a, hold on. I'm going to put it up here before we. All right, there we go. Very good. You may have seen this because it went viral. I've seen it a number of times. This is a roller coaster is trending. Okay, roller coaster is trending. Have you seen this? This is some theme park in North Carolina. Look at this. This is like like some gigantic 250-foot. I don't know what it's. Some big giant roller coaster. All right, so watch this. Watch that support beam. Yep. Yeah, you saw it. That support beam. Look at it. And oh god, yeah, it's cracked. Oh my god. Oh god. This is the most now, I hope to God I didn't really look into this story that much. It's not a Six Flags, I don't believe. We can trust Six Flags. I will not get now. That's not a carnival ride. That's a permanent structure. That's a big North Carolina theme park. I mean, can you imagine the tragedy if that support? At least it doesn't look important, right? That's like a serious support beam that is holding up the highest point of the roller coaster and sending it down a hill. That thing, holy crap. How many people at a time are on those roller coasters? I mean, in one chain of cars, how many people? One, two, maybe 20, 30 people just fly out of off the tracks or just roll off the side? Man, I'm telling you. This is why I don't fall victim to the, we're driving through town and the kid goes, "Daddy, there's a carnival. Can we go to the car?" No, we can't. We don't even go to the carnival. Not now, because now he's riding the bigger rides. When he was really little and it was just like the little things and it was about playing games and stuff, that's fine. Not now. I wouldn't allow my 14-year-old kid to go on any carnival rides. I sure as shit ain't going on any carnival rides. Have you seen the people who get hired to put carnival rides together? Have you seen? Come on, man. I have been on carnival rides as a child where you look out the side and you look at the gears and the mechanism, and I've seen duct tape. I've seen Bondo. I've seen like high tension twine wrapped around. No, man. I'm sorry. I do not. First of all, as far as carnival rides, I do not believe that these are the kinds of things that need to be or should ever be assembled and then re-put back together every single time. Because I imagine that every time you put it together, if it's been put together 100 times and then reassembled and then put together another 100 times, I got to imagine, where's the attrition of, you're making the joints weaker? No, I don't do carnival rides. I don't trust the people. I don't trust that that's the latest equipment that they're using properly. I don't trust carnival rides. And I used to trust amusement parks, but I don't know. After seeing this, it's very upsetting. All right, what else do we have here? That's roller coaster. That's why roller coaster is trending. So here's a debate that's going on. Concerning a lot of municipalities. By the way, are there any 4th of July fireworks tonight? Does anybody know? I'm in Highland Park. I don't want to drive that far. I'm wondering where. I haven't really looked. I should look it up. I don't need to put this on you. You, the fine chat people. Don't worry about it. You're good. You're straight. Excuse me. I want to go see fireworks tonight, though, I think. So bunch of people, of course, people are upset because people like to get upset about absolutely anything. But there are municipalities who have switched over from fireworks. They ain't doing fireworks; they're doing drones. The synchronized drone shows. So there's like a great debate. What should we be doing? Should we be doing fireworks or should we be doing drones? And I'm like, how about we do both? How about we try and blow the drones out of the sky with the fireworks? Huh? How much fun is that? So you get the drone show going. And by the way, have you ever seen these drone shows? Man, they're pretty cool. When I first saw a drone show, like when I first saw one of these spectacular, where they put like 500 drones in the sky at one time and they make pictures and they show video. It's very cool. It's very cool. When I first saw that, and by the way, I'm not proud of this, but when I first saw that, it was just like a couple of years ago. So I was a fully grown human being. I should have known better. But when I first saw drone technology like that, used like that as entertainment in the sky, I thought there was, okay, so if there's 500 drones up there, I thought there were 500 guys with individual, and they were just that good at flying in close. I didn't realize that it's all just synchronized and that these drones are all programmed into the same thing. So they're going, I didn't realize that. So I was dumb. Anyway, the shit you can do with drones. Oh my God, it is spectacular. It is very cool, but I still like my fireworks. So here's how we do it. We do the drone thing. We got to figure out now, grant this isn't cost effective because like those drones cost like $200 each or whatever. Okay. So let's figure out a way to make like disposable drones. Or maybe we pack some gunpowder on the drones. And then they go up there and they do their big thing. And then we follow up the drone thing by shooting fireworks at them. And we blow the drones out of the sky. And the drones themselves then become big explosions. That's how you win. That's America. That's why you need to vote for me, Pugs 2024. So people are like, we need drones. Hey, I don't know. I like both. I don't care. But I'll tell you this. If I go to a place and it's just drones, nah. I'm like, are you kidding? I mean, just drones. 4th of July's got to be fireworks. Now, if you want to add drones to the fireworks, I'm all for that. But don't give me this. Don't give me this. I hope to God this isn't because fireworks are dangerous. Oh, shut up. Are you kidding me? Fireworks are dangerous? Fireworks are dangerous. You want to legislate fireworks because they're dangerous. I don't have time for you people. Keep the fireworks. We'll be fine. What else is trending? Sopranos is trending. Christopher Moltisanti. He started running his mouth last night. Michael Imperioli, who plays Christopher on The Sopranos. He was reacting to a Supreme Court decision on Friday. The Supreme Court basically said it was okay. So the old scenario, and we've seen this play out a number of times. Because, it's such a provocative news story, and it's so good. A great way to divide us, to get us arguing with each other. So remember, Bruce and Lance, they're going to celebrate their big day. So they walk into Holy Roller Bakery, and they say, we want a wedding cake with 2 giant dicks on it. They say that to, the Holy Roller Bakery, and the Holy Roller Bakery goes, be gone, demon! And, they don't serve them. And then Bruce and Lance are like, I can't believe they won't. Okay, so that's for years that kind of scenario has been playing out. And it had been previously kind of adjudicated that you can't refuse service. You can't. We got protections in order. Just because you're Holy Roller Bakery and, Bruce and Lance want, two dudes doing fellatio on each other on the top of the cake and you got to make it, the rule, the protections said that you got to make it. This was legislated. This is what they voted on. I think that's absolute nonsense. I believe in protections and I believe in all those kinds of things, but not here, not this kind of protection, because here's what I think. See, I've always thought that if you open up a business and you operate that business and you want to operate that business poorly by giving yourselves a reputation of a place to be avoided by half the population who disagree on these providers, that's fine. I think you should be allowed to be the bar that ain't going to serve no gays. I think that you should be that bar. Just go be that bar. You ain't ever going to expand. You ain't ever going to thrive. You might find your little niche in your hometown. Yeah, that's fine. You're a business owner. I mean, I know that as a moderate, as somebody who typically leans left, that sounds like, well, you're not supposed to think that way. Why wouldn't I? If it's my business and I want to refuse service to somebody because I don't like it, I should be able to do that. I shouldn't expect to have a big, thriving and, successful business. I shouldn't expect that because, see, I'm making a really dumb decision as a business owner wading into this kind of topic or this kind of situation. But whatever, in America, you're free to be a bad businessman. So I've always felt that, when the Congress put that law through with those protections, that it was, this is going to be trouble. And at some point, it's going to fall to the Supreme Court and they're going to have to look at this. Well, of course, they did on Friday. And the Supreme Court basically said the Supreme Court said that the Holy Roller Bakery, and again, I'm making this shit up. I don't even know specifically what this one was about. But the Supreme Court essentially said that if the Holy Roller Bakery, it probably makes shitty cake anyway, that the Holy Roller Bakery doesn't want to make a cake for this gay wedding, they can't be forced to. Now, I agree with that. You can't. How are you going to force them? You can't force them. We have religious protections in this country. And we don't get to pick and choose what crazy religious protections we're going. If people, because of their religion, think that they're going to we protect. You don't have to go to another bakery. This is not that big of a problem. Bruce and Lance are the ones really causing the problem. There are no other bakeries, or are you just, it's the principal. Okay, it's the principal, Bruce. That's fine. Lance, get a hold of Bruce. This is what you're marrying. Because it was just one of them who really ginned up the other. So the Supreme Court says the bakery doesn't have to make the gay people a cake. And that's fine. So now why are the Sopranos trending? Because Michael Imperioli, who played Christopher Sopranos, he went on his Instagram account yesterday and he went this diatribe about the Supreme Court decision where he said, by the way, I'm very fluid on this. If somebody can present me with a reason why I'm wrong for just looking at it the way I do, man, I'll listen. I'll absolutely listen. I might not be seeing the whole thing. I've got my ego in check enough to know that I might not know all of this. So present me with a really good reason that a business shouldn't be allowed to make a terrible business decision. I think that they should be allowed to do it. And I think it's bad for business. So, but if you can give me a reason other than the one that I'm seeing, which is it's just mean, or they shouldn't be able to do it. You can't discriminate against people. Sure you can. People get discriminated against all the time. That girl's sitting at home lonely on Saturday nights because they can't get a date. They're discriminating. Are we going to craft a law to protect them? You must ask out heavy-set girls every third time you ask someone out. That's a new law. That's going to come on. This is a difficult world. People are jerks. Toughen up. There's going to be dickheads who don't want to make your birthday cake. We can't legislate that they've got to make your birthday cake. That's absurd. Anyway, so Christopher from The Sopranos, he put this big Instagram diatribe concerning this decision by the Supreme Court. And he says that bigots and racists are no longer allowed to watch The Sopranos or Goodfellas or White Lotus or any of the things that he's appeared in because thanks to the Supreme Court, he is now legally allowed to discriminate against people he doesn't like. And I say, good for you, Christopher. There you go, Christopher. There you go, Michael Imperial. You have your fun. You declare that bigots and racists are not allowed to watch The Sopranos or anything you've ever done. Go ahead. You can do that, and that's fine. How the hell are you going to enforce that? I know you're just being a bit tongue-in-cheeky, but whatever. That's fine. You can say that as well. He can. See, that's how this works. He doesn't have any way to enforce that, right? He doesn't. If a bigot wants to put on HBO Max right now, I'm pretty sure they can still watch, regardless of what. And by the way, Michael Imperioli, I don't think there's any scenario where you could have that kind of power. You're just an actor. By the way, you're like the fourth or fifth lead. You're not the creator. You're not you didn't write it. You're not David Chase. Who the hell are you dating? Now, David Chase said that. Again, there's no way to enforce that. You have granted viewing rights. What HBO is going to give you, HBO Max now on the app, it's going to say, how do you feel about Jews? And then if you're like, well, I don't care for them much, and then you try to access The Sopranos, be like, sorry, Christopher says he doesn't want bigots watching his show. It's so stupid. So stupid. What else do we have here? This guy. Here, we got this guy. Look at this. We got a death here. Let me show you this guy. You ever heard of this guy? He's like a muscle guy. His name is Joe Stetic. His real name is Joe Linderner. He died. Oh, he was the picture of health. He died. Here he is. Let me show you. I love this. Look at this guy. All right, look at him. All right. This guy, breaking popular fitness influencer. Now, I just saw this when it was breaking a couple days ago. And then I looked into this guy and I'm like, oh my God. Popular fitness influencer, Joe Stetics, also known as Joe Lindner, has tragically passed away at 30 years old, right? And he's big on YouTube. He's like a big, German influencer. He's a big, muscle-bound guy. So here's what we know about muscle-bound guys. They're not that smart, like bodybuilder guys. They're not, with the exception, Arnold Schwarzenegger is the outlier. He's the exception that proves the rule. But mostly these guys, so imagine the throngs of people who tune into this guy's YouTube channel because they want to watch the German muscle guy tell them how to get definition, on the left. Well, he was also an advocate for the vaccine, I guess, and he got the vaccine. And so now everybody's like, yeah, and now he's dead from the vaccine. Okay. If you look at the guy on the left there, that is not a healthy person. That is a circular system. That's a circulatory system that is under great stress. There is a lot of anxiety going on in this man's body. He died of a brain aneurysm. A bubble bopped in a boop, boop, just popped in his head. Gee, I wonder how the blood coursing through his system could have gotten a little bit jacked up. Maybe all the human growth hormone, maybe the steroids, maybe the whatever. Nah, it's the vaccine. Yeah, this guy, the picture of health. Look at this guy. This guy looks like a monster. All right, there you have it. Anyway, he's dead. He's dead. And he's not dead from the vaccine. Stop it. Hey, you know what? Please, forgive me. Maybe he is dead from the vaccine. I really don't know enough about it. But here's what I do know enough about. Looking at him and looking at the way he lived his life and understanding a little bit about how he loved the steroids and all that kind of stuff, understanding all this stuff, because it's all been written about. You can go ahead, Google him. You can find out. There's a bunch of little stories about him and how he died. Knowing all of that stuff, I don't immediately jump to the vaccine killed him. It's like, okay, all right. Pretty sure that there you go. Here's a nice story. By the way, this story was brought into us from Jameson Minkoff, who is a fine. I'm gonna call him an outside producer, because whenever anybody sends me a story, and I decide, yeah, that is good, I'd like to use it. So thank you to Jameson. He hit me to this one. I didn't see it. This is a nice little story, although also very creepy and very weird, and I have many questions. But it is nice. It is nice. 17-year-old kid 8 years ago goes missing while walking his dogs. He's down there in Houston. He's 17 years old. He's walking his dogs. He's been through some things. His older brother had recently just passed away. And so, people were concerned about him, about how he was doing. He goes out, he's walking his two dogs. Dogs come back home. That's the whole story. I'm reading this whole story and I'm like, what about the dogs? What about the dogs? And then finally at the end, they reveal, and they only knew that he went missing. He went missing. The dogs returned home. The kid went missing. But, if you read the story, it's like, and then he went missing while walking the dogs. And I was like, well, what happened to the dogs? Don't bury the lead here. The dogs are fine. It's him. It's him. It's our Rudy. Man who went missing 8 years ago when he was just 17 while he was out walking his dogs is finally reunited with his family and recovering in hospital after Good Samaritan found him bloodied, bruised, and slumped outside a church. Rudy Ferris disappeared near his family's Houston home on March 6, 2015. His mother said there are obvious signs that he has been badly beaten and abused for long periods of time. So 5, 6, 7, 8. So he was 17. So 25. So he's 25 now. A man who went missing 8 years ago while he was out walking his dog in Houston, Texas, has been found alive and is now reunited with his family. Rudy Ferret, then 17, was reported missing in 2015 and is now recovering in a hospital bed with cuts and bruises all over his body after being discovered by a Good Samaritan slumped outside a church. He was found on Saturday with blood in his hair, showing obvious signs that he had been badly abused and beaten. Farias, who is now 25, was reunited with his family on the same day after an agonizing period of several years where they did not know what had happened to him. In a message that detailed his condition, his family wrote, "It's him. It's our Rudy." I'll show you a little picture of this dude. All right. So he goes missing 8 years ago. And, the family, aren't you declared dead after 7? Or I don't know, maybe it's different. Because he's young. Maybe he could have just ran away. I don't know. But he goes missing. And then on Saturday, they find him like bloody. Like, what happened to him? He's not talking. They don't know. It's like he's here. I'll tell you more, but I want to show you. I want to show you this kid. All right, here he is. Here's little Rudy. Remember, little Rudy was out walking his dog. Brother's dead. Sad about that. Disappears. Dogs make their way home. All right, there you go. That's little Rudy. So I'll continue reading here as we look at this kid. Let's see some of these details. I want to know where he was. Apparently, he's not talking. Hold on. Sorry. I got a pop-up on my page, and it's taking forever. The family added that he's been found alive, and he's in the hospital.
Rudy is in pretty bad shape. He has cuts, soft tissue tumors, small openings, and swellings on the soles of his feet, along with bruising, old and new cuts and scrapes on his body, old dry blood on his head and hair. He has he's very darkly complected now. He is almost unrecognizable. It broke our hearts to see him in this condition. God only knows what he has endured during his 8 years away from his family. The note mentions that he is also in a lot of pain. It continues, he flinches if you try to touch him or hug him. Oh, he's like a broken dog. He flinches if you try to touch him or hug him, thinking that we are going to strike him. He also thinks that his name is Julio Torres and that he's 14 years old. He's 25. He thinks he's got a different name. How does that happen at 17? I mean, I could see how that might happen if you were abducted when you were 7. But at 17, that seems like, wouldn't you know, we don't know what he's been through. But anyway, he's home. What a great story for this family. Could you imagine your 17-year-old kid goes missing? You assume he's dead. You've probably mourned that. You've probably gone through that. You've done. But then there's always that open question of where is he? So you've probably had sleepless nights for the past 8 years pretty consistently. And then just one day you get a call and it's like, yeah, we think we found him. Wow. All right, here's the story I want to do here on the last day before the 4th of July, before our great American holiday. There is a town in Maine. We're going to watch this video. There is a town, if we can watch it. I watched it on my phone earlier today when I discovered it. And it was glitchy, but that may have just been my phone. So let's see if this one works. Hold on, they're giving me an ad. Yeah. I feel like this is going to be a little glitchy. Hold on. All right, let's watch this and then let's have a conversation about it. It's close the pop-up. Yeah. All right. It's there's a town in Maine, okay? And in this town in Maine, it's a rural town, by the way. It's not like, it's it's Maine. So I guess, but even by Maine standards, it's a rural town. And there's somebody there trying to build the world's largest American flag. They're putting up an American flagpole, and it's going to be taller than the Empire State Building, and the flag itself will be the size of a football field, right? So it's going to be gigantic. And at first I thought, oh God, okay, what? So people in the town don't want it. Other people do want it. What is this about? This is now going to come down to how much you love America. Is that that's not what this is about? It's got to be about other things. One of the cool things, like, you know what? I want you to watch this presentation. This is a presentation of the story in here on the eve of 4th of July, our nation's greatest holiday. Let's watch this. Let's just watch this, and then I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to get rid of these captions because I think that might make it better. All right. Are we sharing? All right, let's watch this together, and then we'll make up our minds.
You see it as you're flying in from Europe. That'll be the first thing you'll see, or the last thing you'll see flying out, if it's clear.
All right, so actually that's kind of a cool thing. That's kind of like one of the reasons that they want to build this American flag that's the size of the Empire State Building, as high as the Empire State Building and the size of a football field. Because Maine is, when you're flying to continental Europe, all those planes go up over Maine. And that is kind of cool. That is kind of cool, the idea that we want to put it here because we want it to be the first thing that people in airplanes see when they fly into America. And the last thing, now, I got a little bit of chills on that one. I'm like, okay, symbolic bullshit for sure, but that's kind of cool. I can understand that case being made and that argument landing with a whole bunch of people. So here, we'll start it again. A Maine town battles over the American flag.
You see it as you're flying in from Europe. That'll be the first thing you'll see, or the last thing you'll see flying out, if it's clear.
Here, you know what? I'll read these for you because I realize that it's probably small on your screen.
Imagine
Hold on, so let me make sure. Hold on.
You know,
They won't let me
Clear.
pause it. In the United States, many people view bigger as better, but some people in small town Maine are balking at measuring patriotism by the size of a flagpole.
imagine a place with the world's tallest flagpole.
Here's what's going to look like.
Taller than the Empire State Building.
Flying the largest American flag ever flown.
Where the rays of the sun touch America first.
That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. I mean, look, is there an elevator? Like now, if you could go up to the top of it, now you got a tourist attraction. The $1 billion project would include a village, living history museums, and memorial walls with names of veterans of wars. With a flag larger than a football field, it was supposed to unite people and create jobs. Instead, it's laying bare
You know, you
community
wanna celebrate
division.
all the veterans that fought in all the wars. That's basically what it's about.
Residents worry that the project would change one of the last places on the East Coast that remain unspoiled by development. All right, so that's the argument. We're a quiet little Maine town. The project was proposed and spearheaded by Morrill Worcestershire founder of Wreaths of America. I don't know. He also set up Worcester Wreath County Concrete. All right, so it's a dude in
just drove
town that's got a lot of
down-
money, this guy.
Pretty much divided, kind of in favor of a moratorium.
No, this
to
ain't him.
Wait and see what will happen. You know, because we're not ready for major development right now.
I just don't want to kill the goose that lays the golden egg. The beauty here with growth in the area, I am conflicted. I truly am. I want to see growth. I want to see sustainable growth, but I want to see preservation of these things that are.
Why is she dressed like Popeye? Look at what she's wearing. That's something Popeye would wear. That's a Popeye outfit. I don't understand. I was, she seemed to be making good points. And then, I look at her and she's dressed like Popeye.
Near and dear to us.
Lobster fishing and blueberry farming account for many jobs in one of the state's poorest regions.
If a rural community gets too big too quickly, you wouldn't be able to live here anymore. Prices would be too expensive in some cases.
The Worcester family declined to speak to the Associated Press for the story, but said in a statement that they aren't giving up.
But as far as change, people say we want change. I'm telling you right now, change is already here. It's moving this way. This is the last bastion on the East Coast, Washington County, along this whole coastline.
Man, I gotta get to Maine. Look at that. Maine looks like, I don't know, Maine looks like a more muscular Wisconsin, which, speaks to me. All right, so there you go. There you have the story, the controversial story, the small town in Maine. Basically, here's what it is. There's a rich guy in town who wants to build a gigantic flagpole. I don't know why. He probably loves Fox News and all of that, but he wants to make it as big as taller than the Empire State Building with a flag that is the size of a football field. He says that it'll be the first thing people in planes see when they come to the continental U.S. and the last thing they see before they leave. All this stuff, that speaks to me. I think that's cool. I don't like gratuitous jingoism, but I do have a jingoistic streak in me. I am a patriot. I do love my country. So that is kind of cool to think that there's this thing. But it's like a small town, and everybody in this small town, they're like the Bartles and James guys. Remember, we saw Bartles and James in that little Maine thing. Just a couple of nice old people sitting on their front porch, getting shit-faced on wine coolers. That's Maine, and that's what those people have. They don't want in their town the world's largest American flagpole and a museum and an amusement park. And they don't want it. They don't. So I get that too. So, I guess on this 4th of July Eve, we have to consider very deeply that one of the great things about being America is being American. And one of the great, we can stand up and we can say, hey, we don't want that giant American flag here. And isn't that ironic? Don't you think? I don't know. There's a story. The other thing that I wanted to mention today here, because it happened on Friday, and I would have done a nice little tribute to him. But hold on, I got to pull this up. But again, I didn't do a show on Friday, and we had a big death. We had a big death on Friday. At least a big death as far as I'm concerned. Somebody who I really like so much. Alan Arkin. Alan Arkin passed away on Friday. God, I loved Alan Arkin. And Alan Arkin is like one of those dudes that I totally take for granted, right? Because I have been seeing Alan Arkin in things that I've enjoyed since the moment someone sat me in front of a television. From the first movie that I ever saw, probably Alan Arkin was in it. There was just something about him that my entire life I was drawn to. Like there was like an energy or like a magnet. Did you see? Here's what I love. Okay. So I always liked Alan Arkin. I liked Alan Arkin so much that I became a fan of Adam Arkin, who is his son, who I also enjoy. Adam Arkin. Adam Arkin, extremely similar to Alan Arkin. But I was really happy for Alan Arkin, who after 5 decades in Hollywood, 50 years maybe of acting, when he did Little Miss Sunshine, and he sort of had this, he won the Oscar, right, for playing Grandpa in Little Miss Sunshine. He sort of became really cool again. And I remember for like a little period of time, because I've always been a bit of an Alan Arkin fetishist. Like I've always liked, and for a little period of time, it's like everybody was like, man, we forgot about Alan Arkin, but wasn't he awesome? Yeah, he was awesome. He was a cool guy. Alan Arkin, born on March 26, 1934, died on June 29th, 2023. He was an American actor, director, producer, and screenwriter. Started his career in comedy and theater before establishing himself as a character actor in film and television. He was so good at comedy. He was dry. He wasn't I'm going to fall down and be silly. He was dry and he was stoic, but his comedy was he was just such a great character in every movie that he ever did. Alan Arkin was never the weak spot in any movie, and oftentimes the best part, as was the case in Little Miss Sunshine. Arkin began his career with the sketch comedy group, The Second City, before acting on the Broadway stage. Here, let's go through. I want to go through some of the things that we've seen him in. Is there a filmography? Yeah, we'll do this filmography. All right. So filmography and live performances. The Russians Are Coming, 1966. Have you ever seen The Russians Are Coming? The Russians Are Coming. He plays one of the Russians. He won. Did he win the Academy Award for Best Actor? No, he was nominated for an Academy Award. So it was the story. The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming are about fear that the Soviets were invading. Was this California, like Northern California, some small community? If you remember 1941, the John Belushi, John Landis film, I think it was 1941. The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming. Very similar kind of movie. Alan Arkin played Lieutenant Roznanov. I remember he was the Russian guy. So good. Let's see. What else? What else did he do? Catch-22. Okay, so Catch-22 was a film adaptation of a book that I can't explain. Catch-22 takes place during the Korean War. It's great. Although, you know what, there is a new series. There's a new adaptation of Catch-22 that was somewhere. I think it was on Hulu that I didn't see because I read a bad review of it, and I went, oh, I might want to see that because the film is. All right, we'll move it. The In-Laws. Alan Arkin, The In-Laws. What else do we have here? I'm running through all these. God, he did. Edward Scissorhands. He was in that. The Rocketeer. Glenn Ross. You forget about him in that. So I Married an Axe Murderer. He was in that. He was even in the Jerky Boys movie. Gross Point Blank. I forget how much. I'm skipping over. He did like 10 movies a year for 50 years. And all of these movies are movies that we've heard of. He just doesn't have a lot of really big hits. You know what I mean? He was never in Raiders of the Lost Ark. He was never. God, he's great. All right, Little Miss Sunshine. There you go. Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. He won that. Did he do something recently? I'm trying to see what he was doing recently. Oh, he's still got posthumous films coming out. This dude, Alan Arkin, worked. All the way up. He's got 2 films that have yet to be released that are in the can that he was working on. All right, let's see. How did he die? Do we know how he died? I know he was old. Arkin died at his home in San Marcos, California on June 29, 2023. He was 89 years old. His death was attributed to heart problems, of which he had a history of. All right. I wanted to, I don't know. I just like the guy. He's one of these guys that you take for granted because you see him in everything when you're a little kid. And you're just like, oh, he's just that guy. He's just that guy. And then he died. When I was reading about him when he died on Friday, I went, boy, you know what? That's somebody who I really liked. Alan Arkin died on Friday. Okay, now let's jump over to Twitter. Let's see if I can grind through some of my allotted page views to see what kind of trends have been going on here while we've been doing the show. Because obviously the world keeps turning. Just because I'm talking about things that I prepared in the hours before the show doesn't mean that everything stopped. What do we got? Richard Gere is trending. Why is Richard Gere trending? Let's see. You know what? That's a scary one. Like Richard Gere, is it going to be like gerbil butt stuff? Is that what's happening? Oh, no. Okay. Richard Gere is doing some refugee stuff. And so, of course, the crazy right is going nuts. Why does he care about refugees? I don't know, because he's an actor, and actors are weird. Stop acting like actors have to think like you. They're grown-ups who are paid ridiculous amounts of money to pretend all day long. Stop acting like actors, and the way they think is somehow, when an actor does something like this, it doesn't make you shorter, okay? It has no effect on you. Stop worrying about it. Richard Gere, he's taking up for refugees, and okay, maybe you don't like refugees. I don't know. Why would you have a problem with refugees? Whatever. He's being taken down because he's, that's Richard Gere. It's an actor. These people are idiots. Why do we get what's he doing here? Hold on, let's see. What's he saying? Let's listen to we'll just listen to what Richard Gere is saying, and then maybe I'll change my tune.
One of the boats was turned back and taken by the Libyan Navy. We don't know what happened to them. The two boats that were rescued here, probably all hands on board.
All right, so he seems to be in the middle of some. I don't care. It's 4th of July. I honestly cannot expel this much energy worrying about what Richard Gere is doing. I like Richard Gere, though. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know what he's like right now, like getting into all this stuff. But as an actor, I like him. I got nowhere else to go. Remember? Officer and a Gentleman. Mayonnaise. Get out. Why don't you get out? This ain't for you. You don't need this. Why don't you get out and go? I got nowhere else to go. Louis Gossett Jr. won the Oscar for that. Yeah, he did. Oh, Jesus, really? Yeah, okay. There's a whole bunch of nonsense. Jackie Chan is trending. That I click on that. Why is Jackie Chan trending? That's a happy dude. I like Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan and his daughter crying while watching some of his old movie scenes is the most wholesome thing. Okay, so there's no real news going on. It's just... Okay, guys, I guess that's it. I think we're done with today's show. We went through a whole bunch of stuff here, so let's... tonight, 9:00. As of right now, I expect to do something. James said that we would be doing something. At least he said that he might. But again, James has like 5 kids. He's got 4. I know how many kids he's got. I just like to pretend like he's got more. He's got 4 kids, and it is the eve of 4th of July, so that could change. I have one who seems to be totally content with just laying around today, which bodes well for me possibly doing something, coming back at 9:00. So we'll see. Tomorrow, I can promise you there'll be no shows. That's understandable, right? I mean, it's 4th of July. You guys are probably not going to be around listening to streams anyway either. So no shows tomorrow. I think we're going to do one tonight at 9:00. Maybe. We'll see. Yeah, so that's it. Also, thank you to Sacred Oils, and thank you to you folks who made your way over to Sacred Oils. Deltas, gummies, edibles, smokables, flour, tinctures, CBDs, all the varieties of whatever you get. CBD, 13740 Midway Road in Farmers Branch. Tell them that you heard about them here. Sacred Oils. Tell Sacred Oils you heard about them here. and you'll get yourself that Pugs 20% discount. Tip the show if you can. That would be a great help. End of the month came and went, and it fell over a weekend, so we got crushed. Typically, you guys really help us out at the end of the month, and we didn't really get there, so we're a couple hundred short, and we sure would love any kind of tips you can drop in the old tip bucket. You got the Venmo, you got the Cash App, you got all that stuff. Okay, but I understand it's 4th of July, man. You guys go have your fun. Got to buy the kids corn dogs. Can't tip the show. I've been there. I love you anyway. I appreciate you guys showing up every day to let me do this thing. But if you can, you can, and I hope that you would. And if you can't, I still love you. Go America, big balls. Let's blow shit up. Woo! I don't know. 4th of July. We're going to be grilling out on the dock. We'll be jet skiing, going to the lake. It's going to be wonderful. I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day as well. And happy birthday, America. Yeah, there you go. I said it. Love your country. Loving your country means completely acknowledging that it's hard work making a country that is lovable. We are a work in progress. Happy 4th of July. See you guys.